Hi guys, it's me, ChazzaHD, and welcome today to the race watch-along for the 2018 United States Grand Prix, where this man on screen, Lewis Hamilton, can win his 5th Drivers' World Championship today. Hopefully you guys are all doing well, hopefully you're excited for today's race. I'm definitely excited. I think we're going to have a good Grand Prix. We have some drivers that are out of position, some drivers on different strategies, such as Kimi Raikkonen compared to Lewis Hamilton. So I think we are going to get quite an intriguing title decider here today at COTA. Hopefully you guys, wherever you are in the world, are doing all good. But guys, if you did miss out by any chance on what happened in qualifying, let me take you through the results right now. So this is how it ended up in the top 10. Lewis Hamilton got pole. Sebastian Vettel finished in second, but will start 5th, of course, with that 3-place grid penalty. So Raikkonen will start 2nd, Bottas 3rd, Daniel Ricciardo will start 4th, with Vettel then 5th. Then it's Ocon 6th, Hulkenberg 7th, Grosjean 8th, Leclerc 9th, and Sergio Perez in P10. Nice and close there in the midfield. And then the bottom 10. You have Carlos Sainz P11, Kevin Magnussen P12, then Gasly, Hartley and Verstappen 13th and 14th and 15th respectively. But the two Toro Rossos are starting at the back, and now Max Verstappen has a gearbox penalty for this race, so he will start in 18th, meaning that Fernando Alonso is going to be starting in 13th, so if he gets a good start, who knows what he could do. So that means, and then Sorokin 14th, Stroll 15th, Ericsson 16th, Van Dorn 17th, and then you will have Verstappen, Gasly, and Brendan Hartley. That will be the grid for this Grand Prix. But guys, in the build-up to the race, as ever, let's preview how all the teams are going to do here today at the Circuit of Americas. First off, Mercedes. After yesterday, I think Mercedes are very happy that they do have pole position. I don't think they had the fastest car yesterday. I think Ferrari did have the faster car, and that's why Sebastian Vettel was so angry that he didn't get pole, even though he's not going to be starting on pole, of course. Mercedes, again, very happy with pole, and off the line, they have to make that count. They have to make sure they stay in first place, because if Kimi Raikkonen on his ultra soft tyres gets the jump off of Lewis Hamilton, who is on the super soft tyres, then Kimi, for the first few laps, should pull away, because I think the Ferrari is about equal, if not just a slight bit faster, and the ultra soft tyre is probably going to be, for the first few laps, about half a second a lap faster than the super softs. So it's very important for Mercedes to beat Raikkonen with Hamilton into turn 1 and maintain the lead. For Valtteri Bottas, I'm afraid it's all about keeping back Sebastian Vettel in today's race. If he can do that, then he has done his job. As long as Lewis Hamilton wins, then Bottas needs to hold up Sebastian Vettel as much as possible, and if he does, then I do think, guys, Lewis Hamilton will take his 5th World Championship here today in Austin. Next up is Ferrari. Ferrari yesterday, I think they disappointed at the end of Q3. There was definitely more pace in that car. Lewis did pull out a special lap to get on pole, but I think the Ferrari was faster. So that's why Sebastian was so angry. I think the Ferrari was maybe a 10th or a 10th and a half faster. Just look at what Ferrari were doing in Q2. Even though they were miles faster in Q2, they clearly showed for me they had the faster car in qualifying. But can they transfer that over to this race? They definitely can, but I'm not sure they will, because Ferrari, when it comes to race pace, they haven't done that well in the last few races. They're suffering more with tyre wear than, say, Mercedes or Red Bull have been. So I'm not sure if they will have enough race pace to actually go for the win. I'm not sure. We'll basically just have to see what they do. It's kind of 50-50. It's definitely a possibility that they can win the race, but there's also a possibility that they're going to suffer bad tyre wear and drop back, maybe behind a Red Bull and the other Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas with Kimi Raikkonen, say. So I think we just have to kind of see what happens for Ferrari. But no matter what happens, I think for Ferrari, they just need to go out there and be as aggressive as possible. Don't be too aggressive. Don't be overly aggressive. Don't go for moves which are not possible. For example, what Sebastian Vettel did to Max Verstappen at Suzuka. But yeah, if there's a chance of an overtake and there's a chance of jumping someone in a pit stop, Ferrari just have to be aggressive. There's no point being conservative when the championship is basically over. So I hope Ferrari today just go out there and go for it. Because if they do, I think we're going to get a very exciting race and a great battle for the race win. And next up is Red Bull, who, in qualifying for Daniel Ricciardo, I think he did the best he could. The Red Bull is not as quick when it comes to qualifying as the Mercedes and Ferrari around this track. So I think he did the best he could, and I think does have a good chance of a podium. I actually think he has a better chance of a podium than I think a lot of people think. Don't be surprised if Danny Ric ends up getting a podium. Don't be surprised at all. He can make some great moves into some late or into some hard braking zones. For example, at the end of the long back straight or into turn 1, like he did last year with Valtteri Bottas. So, if he's behind someone who is faster than, he can get past, as we know. And Red Bull normally do have good race pace. They have in the last few races at Suzuka. You could argue at times they were faster than Mercedes and had the best car in the race. So I'm expecting a good race for Ricciardo and for Max Verstappen as well, despite him starting in 18th, because first off, with the rear suspension breaking over that Verstappen, I think we're all calling it now, and now has to take a gearbox penalty, and that's why he will start in 18th place. So even though for Verstappen he starts 18th, with the race pace that the Red Bull has, if he does fight his way through the field and has a good start, don't be surprised if he's competitive with, say, 4th or 5th towards the end of the Grand Prix. He definitely does have the pace to do so, and of course has a free choice of tyres, which will be important once we get to the last 10 or 15 laps. But guys, what do you think about those three teams? Do you think Mercedes with Lewis Hamilton will win the world title today? For Ferrari, do you think they can win today's race? And where do you think Sebastian Vettel will finish up? And for Red Bull, is a podium possible with Daniel Ricciardo, or do you think they just don't have enough pace in that car to achieve a podium? Put in the chat right now, guys, and I will make sure to read through your comments and answer any questions. Right, so let's look at the chat. I'll make sure to try and include everyone's if I can. Flaming Fury, I wonder if Ricciardo will be able to finish a race. Niblaze says yes, he will finish the race. Hopefully he does. He's had such rotten luck ever since Austria, it seems like. So many reliability problems. Fingers crossed he can have a smooth race on that side of things and have enough pace to go for a podium, because if he does, then I think he will. I really think he's that competitive for this race. Francisco, it's been a very emotional day for me due to personal problems. I just want Kimi to win so I can feel a little bit better. Hopefully you're doing okay, mate. Hopefully it's not too bad, and hopefully my stream now and later and the race will cheer you up. Ben McCarthy, I think Vettel will win. I think the Ferrari is too strong, and Kimi, I think, will give it to him. Wow, Vettel to win. I don't think he will, but if he won the race, that'd be incredible. That would be incredible. I think something would have to go wrong for Lewis Hamilton, to be honest, because I don't think the Mercedes is that much, say, slower than the Ferrari. You know, they're not going to absolutely fall away if they do have bad race pace. So even if Vettel can get past Ricciardo and Bottas, it's still going to be very tough to get past Lewis Hamilton. He's going to need Hamilton to have some kind of issue. Rishab, Jane, Max will come back like he did last year. Hopefully he does. That was very exciting the way he came back through the field, and I think was one of his best drives of 2017 was the one last year, despite him doing what he did at the end of the race. Halam899 says Kimi for the win. I'd love to see Kimi win, but if Vettel is behind him and Kimi is first, then I think we all know what's going to happen. Nathan, going to be interesting with Kimi on different tyres. It is. I cannot wait to see the start, because I think Kimi, if he gets an initial good getaway, he should get past Hamilton, because the Ferrari, still in terms of power, is still good, and those stickier tyres will give him more grip going up to turn 1. So it's going to be interesting to see for sure. Right, I'll just read through a few more and then I'll go on to the midfield, guys. Nathan says Kimi on the faster tyres should at least get Lewis on the back straight. It depends what happens at turn 1, because if Kimi gets a bad start, of course he's on the dirty side of the grid, so you never know, he might get a bad start, and Kimi's not the greatest at getting his car off the line well. He could, you know, be crashed out in turn 1. You don't know what could happen. Niblo says Kimi just needs to lick it and send it down the inside at turn 1. Hopefully he is aggressive like he was at Monza. Hopefully he's in that kind of mood today, because then he might be able to get the win. Hallam899 Lewis, just let Kimi win. You are champion anyway. Maybe he might do that if Vettel is still, say, 5th or 4th and quite a bit behind. If Kimi goes for the pass, maybe Lewis will let him go because he doesn't want to take that risk of an accident. Maybe that'll happen. It's a possibility for sure. Right, I'll read through a couple more and then we'll go on to the midfield. Hallam899 again, for the greater good, Lewis needs to retire this race. I will admit, for the championship, it would be great if Lewis did retire and Vettel won this race, because then the championship could be pushed all the way until Brazil if Vettel then beats Hamilton in Mexico. So it would be, from a championship standpoint, good to see. But as long as we get a good race, I don't really care who retires and who doesn't. Who doesn't retire. Right, Dat King Kyle, Ferrari were lapping the best part of half a second slower than Mercedes in Singapore, Russia and Japan. But suddenly in qualifying yesterday, they were back within a tenth of Lewis Hamilton. I have news on that, why that has occurred. And it was confirmed on Sky F1 about half an hour ago. Ferrari for Singapore brought some aerodynamic upgrades, and basically it made the car worse. So what they did, Ferrari, on Saturday morning at COTA was took those upgrades off and they went fast again. So basically those upgrades made the Ferrari car slower. So that kind of plays down this whole this battery story. It kind of plays that down because the upgrades, Sebastian Vettel basically confirmed in the post-qualifying press conference that those upgrades have made the car worse. So they went back to where they were at Spa and Monza, where they were so fast, and look how quick they are. So I think that might be a big factor as to why Ferrari were so slow in Singapore, Russia and Japan. Thanks for the support, Jazz, no problem, Francisco. Right, I think, guys, we'll move on to the midfield. Don't worry, we'll get back onto those top teams once I get onto my predictions later on in this build-up. So, first off, for the midfield, we'll go to McLaren. Qualifying was about what I expected. No real surprise. Fernando Alonso knocked out in 16th in Q1 and Van Dorn at the back again. And even though he starts 17th, he's not going to beat Gasly, Hartley and Max Verstappen in today's race. So for McLaren, I guess the only positive is that Fernando starts 13th because of penalties for other drivers. So maybe he can, if he gets a good start, maybe he can do something at the start. But realistically, McLaren do not have anywhere near enough pace to finish in the points. Even if Fernando goes from 13th to 8th, he's not going to maintain that for the 56 laps. No way. The McLaren is way too slow for that to happen. So, yeah, disappointing for McLaren, but let's be honest, it's kind of expected. They've disappointed ever since they rolled out the pit lane on day 1 of pre-season testing. Next up is Renault, who I thought had a better than expected qualifying. Nico Hulkenberg in P7, a great performance, even though I still think he was a bit lucky to go through to Q3. I said this in my qualifying review, and by the way, if you have not checked out my qualifying review, it's in the link, it's in the description, link down below. I think he was a bit lucky to get through to Q3 because if Gasly did not have penalties, Gasly had the pace to knock Hulkenberg and Sainz out in Q2. So a bit lucky, but you know, once it came to Q3, when it mattered, he produced the goods. And that's exactly what you need to be doing if you're a Renault driver right now in that mega battle for 4th in the Constructors. Carlos Sainz starts in P11. He is the first driver with a free choice of tyres. That's very important for today's race. I think tyre wear will be a slight issue. Not a massive issue, but will be a slight issue for some drivers, such as the Haas drivers. So that's good for Carlos Sainz. But what can Renault do in today's race? I think Hulkenberg will finish in the points. I'm thinking more 9th and 10th, something like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sainz got in the points, but I think at least one of the Renaults will get points today. And for Haas, it just matters for them where they finish compared to where Renault finish. Can Haas beat Renault and finish in 7th and 8th, or just in 7th with one of their cars? We'll have to see, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see the battle between Renault, Haas, Force India, Sauber today. It really is. Can't wait to see it. And next up is Force India, who do have the best car in the midfield, in my opinion. Esteban Ocon basically proved that in qualifying by qualifying in P6. He starts on the 3rd row alongside Sebastian Vettel, just showing how good of a driver he is. Sergio Perez, though, was disappointing in P10. He should not have been in P10. He should have been at least ahead of Grosjean and Leclerc. 10th in that car is not good enough, I'm afraid. Ocon clearly proved that the car was the best in the midfield. Perez should be, again, about P8. I mean, he's not miles off Ocon in terms of pace. They're about equal still, so I don't understand why Perez was just so slow. I really don't get it, but hopefully he does rectify it for today's race. And normally, when it comes to race pace quota, Perez does tend to be quite consistent and quite good. So hopefully for Perez, he does do well today. But guys, what do you think for those 3 teams? McLaren, can they do anything of note in this Grand Prix? For Renault, do you think they will get some points today, or do you think they're going to fall back in today's race compared to Haas and Force India and Sauber, and maybe Toro Rosso, if Toro Rosso are very quick from the back row of the grid? And for Force India, do you think they have the best car in the midfield for this race, and what do you think they can do with that car and just with how good it is? Right, I'll look at the chat now to see what you guys are saying. JB, apparently Checo has some damage to his car. That's why he had a poor result. That would explain things, because I was so surprised he was down in 10th. So surprised. That would explain things. Ronan Brady, I think he's talking to someone else there. Ben McCarthy, McLaren can do something. Deal with Fernando's complaints. Yeah. Alonso, if he gets a good start, this is how bad it is for McLaren. Even if they get a good start, they're going to lose positions. It's almost like they are a back marker team now. Even if they get a good start, because the race is 50 or 60 odd laps, they're going to fall back because the car is that far off their midfield rivals. Ocon should stay instead of Perez. That's from Josh Besson. I agree. I cannot believe Ocon is maybe out of F1 next year. That makes no sense at all, but yeah, that's the way it is. Money, I'm afraid, kind of rules things at times. Alonso will not score points today. That's from Simon Cragland. Yeah. I don't think he will. I don't see it at all. He's going to need a massive pile-up at turn 1 and a couple safety cars. And for him, of course, not to be involved in that pile-up like he has been over the years. So, yeah. Right, just let me look through the remaining comments to see your questions and comments. Hello to Legendary Snipers, Beacon F1, who's just joined the watch-along. Thanks to the 87 people watching live right now. Right, and Nathan also saying Perez said he had damage. Okay. Again, that just confirms it. Why he was not that great. Ronan Brady says about Perez. Perez provides money and money talks. He has connections to Carlos Slim. Yep, exactly. And, well, Lance Stroll and that Stroll family has a lot of money as well. So, yeah. It's sad, but that's just the way it is. I'll be watching the race later because I think it starts at 1:30 PM Central American time. Okay, that's some Legendary Snipers. Hallam899 forcing to get all of their points go, and they will still get beaten by them. That says everything about McLaren. Yes, it does. That actually, I think, will be the final blow of embarrassment for McLaren in 2018. They're going to be beaten by a team that restarted halfway through and still beat them. That would be, oh my God, that would be so embarrassing. That would be so embarrassing. Trust me, I'm not going to let McLaren forget that. If that does happen, that would be absolutely terrible. But we'll move on, guys, from those teams and now complete the grid. Next up, Williams. I think Williams do have a faster car than McLaren, even though Fernando Alonso is ahead of the two Williams cars. Let's be honest, what Fernando does in that car does not represent how quick the car actually is. I think Williams, again, if they can make a good start, they're going to be starting in P14 and P15. You never know. And they have good straight line speed to defend and also attack down that long back straight. So, again, you never know. You never know. If there's a turn 1 crash and a couple safety cars, and it's a chaotic race in general, Williams could end up with a point. They really could. It's a good starting position they do have. But realistically, I don't see them scoring points. I think they'll probably finish at best, say 13th. But again, if we do get a lot of retirements, then Williams could be in for some points today. A surprise points finish. Next up is Toro Rosso, whose qualifying was basically useless because they had the penalties, of course, the grid penalties for changing the power unit and the gearboxes. So they are starting at the back. What can they do from the back of the grid? I think they have the pace to get, say, up to 13th, maybe 12th. I don't think they have enough pace to score points. But if there is a safety car, say midway through the race, that is exactly what they need, because then they can score points. But if there's no safety cars during the race, then the best I see for Toro Rosso and mainly Pierre Gasly is, 12th or 13th place. I don't think they have enough pace to come roaring through the field and finish up in the points. And next up is the home team here at COTA, Haas F1. Now, for me, qualifying was disappointing. Grosjean only qualifying in 8th. He should not have been out-qualified by Hulkenberg. The Haas car, it is a better car, in my opinion, around this track. I can't believe Grosjean was out-qualified by that Renault, so he does need to repair that small damage, I guess you could say, in today's Grand Prix. Kevin Magnussen was basically non-existent in qualifying, had one of those days where he just doesn't really do anything in terms of pace in the session. So hopefully he does get his act together for this race. And I said this yesterday for the qualifying review, and I'll say it again. This race is the most important race Haas have had so far in their history. This is their most important race because if Haas don't deliver today and Renault do get a double points finish and outscore Haas, because the next race is Mexico, where the engine deficits kind of not go away, but they lessen by quite a lot. If they don't beat Renault today and they don't outscore Renault today, then they might have missed their chance to finish 4th in the Constructors. So today is vitally important for Haas, and I hope they do well. I don't have anything against Renault, but I would like to see Haas finish in 4th instead, because I like to see the little guy do better than the big manufacturer. It's good for the sport, in my opinion. So hopefully Haas do have a good home American Grand Prix. And finally is Sauber. Charles Leclerc, as usual, was fantastic. Qualified in 9th. You could argue that he could have done better because he was in 6th at the end of Q2, but still a top 10 starting position is a great result for him. Again, in a Sauber, you know, and when his teammate Marcus Ericsson's down in 19th after qualifying, that just shows you how good of a performance that is. So, for Charles Leclerc, I think he will be very competitive. Will he get points? It's tough to say because the midfield is so close. He might, but he might not. We'll have to see. The start is going to be very important in deciding what goes down in that midfield today. If Leclerc gets a good start and gets up to the back of, say, Ocon, he might get, you know, 7th or 8th in this Grand Prix. So we'll have to see what he does in this Grand Prix. But guys, what do you think is going to happen with those 4 teams? Do you think Williams can get a surprise points finish if there is chaos? For Toro Rosso, basically the same. If there's chaos, do you think they can do something in the Grand Prix? For Haas, do you think, like me, this is a vitally important race? Or do you think that even if Renault slightly beat them today, that it's not... Let me just clear my throat. Even if Renault beat them today, it's not, you know, game over. What do you think about that? And for Sauber, do you think with Charles Leclerc they can score points? Put in the chat right now and I will read out your comments and answer any questions for the next couple of minutes. Right, let's take a look. I feel as though Haas will take P4 on the Constructors in Abu Dhabi at Yas Marina Bay. Lol, but I seriously think they'll take it at the last moment. That's from JB, of course, with his puns. It's possible. It is possible. I think Abu Dhabi will suit Haas more than Renault, but not massively. So it's possible. But again, I think today's race is very important in terms of momentum going forward for the final 3 races after that. What time is race start? That's from Alexander. As Niblo just said, great to see him in the chat as always. In half an hour, 30 minutes. That's when the race will be starting. We've got plenty of other things to discuss in the build-up, so don't worry guys, got plenty of more stuff to go through. Aaron Chin, great to see him. He says, I think Charles will finish 8th. That would be a super result for him and for Sauber, because remember, they are in a very tight and I think quite underrated battle for 8th in the Constructors with Toro Rosso. That is an important battle. So if he does finish 8th, I believe Sauber will pass Toro Rosso in the Constructors if Toro Rosso do not score points. Will the stream show video or just chatting while it's happening? Basically what I do, I can't show video because of copyright, and if I did, this channel would be shut down in about 2 seconds. What I do is I grab pictures off of Twitter and then put them off on the screen for you guys as many times as I can to give you guys a visual of what's going on. So yeah, that's what I do, and I'm basically just going to commentate through the entire Grand Prix. So this is kind of like a radio commentary, I guess you could say, of the Grand Prix. So yeah, if you're not able to watch the race, then tune into this because I will cover everything in this race. Hello to OG Gaming. Tonka Toy Truck, the race for 7th, and the drivers is also in the balance today. It is. It absolutely is. You've got, what, Perez, Magnussen, Alonso, Ocon, Hulkenberg, very close together. Even though Fernando Alonso, by the sounds of it, doesn't want to finish in 7th, it's still an interesting battle. Alexander, awesome. Let's hope we see the championship finish this weekend. I'll be honest, I don't want it to end. I want it to continue as long as possible. Of course, I want it to go to the final race, even though it's not going to. It's probably going to be decided today. And don't worry, guys, we'll go through the championship permutations before the race starts. But yeah, I want it to go to Mexico, and I think there is a small chance of that happening. Small chance of that happening. Let's just get James Allen back doing commentary. That's from Niblo. James Allen, very underrated. Very underrated. I think because he replaced Murray Walker and there was no way he was going to be better, of course, than Murray. He was basically doomed from the start. I think he did well. I think once he got really roaring with his commentary, he had some great and some classic moments. I really do like his style of commentary. Hopefully you guys like my style of commentary. I know that sometimes I'm talking absolute rubbish, but yeah, hopefully it's entertaining enough for you guys. But we'll move on now from the teams and now go on, guys, to my one to watch for the US Grand Prix. And it's not really a surprise. It is Max Verstappen. He finished in 15th because of that broken right rear suspension going over the Verstappen curb. And yeah, had a very disappointing end to qualifying, but starting 18th with that gearbox penalty, he does, even though he is starting 18th, he still has a chance if he gets through the field quick enough, and that's why you need to watch out for him, because I think he's going to be so aggressive against those midfield drivers. If he gets past quickly, he does have a chance, if there's a safety car or a virtual safety car, he does have a chance of maybe a top 5 finish. He does have a chance of that. So definitely watch out for Max Verstappen. I cannot wait to see what he does. I think last year he started at the back and he almost and should have got a podium in my opinion. So you never know what could happen. You never know what could happen. So definitely watch out for Max Verstappen. But guys, do you have a one to watch? Who do you think we need to keep an eye out for in today's Grand Prix? Should it be Max Verstappen? Or maybe a midfield driver, or one of the Toro Rossos, or Sebastian Vettel? Who is your one to watch in today's US Grand Prix? Let's see what you guys are saying about this. Prussia says Sorokin. I think I know why he's saying that. My one to watch is Leclerc. That's from OG Gaming. I see why he'd be the one to watch, because he's just such a great driver at his age. He could do something spectacular for sure. Datkin Kyle also says Leclerc. Rishav Jane says Carlos Sainz. Good point. That is a very good point, because Carlos is the first man to have free choice of tyres. That could be very important. Good point from Rishav there. We've got people saying Vettel. That's from Ruben. Trinidad. Niblo says Perez. Ben McCarthy says Vettel. Vettel in case he bottles it. That's from Legion. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he does have a good race and maybe gets through the field quick. Tonka Toy Truck says Ocon and Leclerc are the ones to watch. Ocon, I think, was the one to watch in qualifying, and I was correct with that. But I don't think he will be in the race, because if he holds his position off the start, excluding him being passed by Max Verstappen, he's going to be, I think, quite clearly at the front of the midfield and not really doing anything. So I don't think he's really the one to watch. I think Leclerc, definitely we need to watch out for more than Esteban Ocon. Datkin Kyle, Ferrari have taken all the upgrades pre-Singapore and gone back to the old car. Yes, they have. And from watching Sky F1 before I came on live here, basically it's been confirmed that that is a big reason why they were so slow in Singapore, Sochi and Suzuka. So that battery story, I wouldn't say it's not, you know, it's been overhyped, but it's not having as big of an effect, I think, as we previously thought. So may have to cover that when I do part 2 of that Ferrari battery issue explained video in a couple of weeks' time. But we'll move on from the one to watch, guys, and go on to something that I think is going to be quite important today, which is the tyre situation. And this track, it's not the worst when it comes to tyres, but definitely the first sector and the last sector does kill the tyres, especially if you push too hard. So I think tyre wear will be an issue today. And here we're going to look at the race sets that these drivers have. So you can see there, Hamilton and Bottas both have 2 new sets of the soft tyres. I think that Mercedes are going to go from super soft to soft. I think that's the strategy they're going to go for. For Kimi Raikkonen, you can see there he has 2 new sets of super soft. So I think he's going to be aggressive and go ultra soft to super soft. And if he can't make the end of the race doing one stop, then maybe go back to, go to another set of super softs. I think that's what he could do. Sebastian is starting on super soft, so I think he'll go super soft soft. You have Ricciardo there. Ricciardo is also, I think, starting on ultra softs. That's something I forgot to mention. That's going to make Ricciardo very aggressive at the start. So I think he'll go, like Raikkonen, ultra soft to super soft, but because he has 2 new sets of soft tyres, maybe he'll go ultra soft to soft. You have Verstappen there, of course, has plenty of tyres. Then we scroll down. So you see there, Perez and Ocon don't have many tyres left. The Williamses do. The Renaults, pretty much the same as Force India. Toro Rosso have some tyres to play with. You can see Haas there. Yeah. This is the bad thing for Haas, because they struggle so much with tyre wear. You can see there, they don't have many tyres to play with. Magnussen, I think, will start on super softs, and then probably go on to the soft tyres. But for Grosjean, because he starts on ultra softs, he might have to pick quite early for super softs, and that might not get him to the end. We'll have to see. I still think it's going to be a one-stop race, but towards the end, I think it might be a bit hard for some of the drivers. And then you have the 2 McLarens, of course, plenty of tyres. Ericsson has plenty of tyres to play with, but Charles Leclerc does not. So there you go. Those are the race sets and the tyre situation for this Grand Prix. The biggest point of interest for me when it comes to tyres is Raikkonen, Vettel and Ricciardo. And Verstappen as well. Those 4, the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Red Bulls, are going to be the most interesting teams to watch out for when it comes to the tyres and when it comes to race strategy. So watch out for them in the Grand Prix when it comes to the pit stop phase. Around, when will it be? Lap 16, lap 17, something like that. So hopefully we get something exciting on that end. But guys, now we're going to get into another topic and go through the best places here at the Circuit of Americas to pass. The first chance, of course, off the start line is going in to that uphill turn 1. It's a very tight corner, especially with so many cars all there at once. We have had accidents here at the past. Not any major accidents, but we have had a couple of crashes, and it does get very tight on the exit of turn 1. So you do have to watch out you don't knock off your front wheel or front wing whilst racing another guy. And as well, during the race, excluding the start, you can make a move into turn 1 because you have DRS down the pit straight. And if you're close enough, then you can go for a Danny Rick style dive bomb down into turn 1. So it is definitely possible. And I think we will get a couple of moves at that corner. The next one is the straight between turns 11 and turn 12, the long back straight. The DRS is so powerful on this back straight. I would say if you're within 3/4 of a second of the guy ahead, depending on the engine deficit and depending on which car is racing which, if you're, say, 6 to 7 tenths of a second behind as you enter this straight, by the time you get to the end of the straight with DRS and maybe some battery usage from your ERS, you should be attempting to make a move down into turn 12. So definitely watch out for this back straight. It's the best place here at COTA to overtake for sure. And also the corners following that into turn 13, 14, 15, you can make a move and do some switchbacks through these corners. So a good little section for you to be able to make an overtake. But definitely the straight heading into turn 12 is where the overtaking will start. And then it will probably end by, say, turn 15. But yeah, that's where the best overtaking opportunities are, guys, here at COTA. Hopefully we do get some overtakes. We're 20 minutes now away from the start of the race. And I guess it's time now to get into my predictions for today's race. And they're quite surprising. They are quite surprising. I think you guys, I think you guys are going to be surprised by what I've gone with. And don't forget as well, once I've finished my predictions or during my predictions, you can put yours in the chat below for the next 20 minutes before the race actually starts. So, now, let's get into who I think will win the US Grand Prix. In my opinion, it will be Lewis Hamilton. I think Hamilton will maintain the lead off the start because he's on the clean side of the grid. And because Kimi Raikkonen just isn't amazing at getting the car off of the start line. So I think Hamilton will maintain the lead into turn 1. And then because the Mercedes on the harder tyre is going to do well, in my opinion, and with these much hotter track conditions, I don't think that the Ultra Softs on Raikkonen will hold up as well as Hamilton's Super Softs. So I think Lewis Hamilton will take the victory. And as we'll get on to with who I'm going to go with second and third, Lewis Hamilton, in my opinion, will win his 5th Drivers' World Championship here today, in my opinion. But of course, anything can happen in F1. In second place, maybe a bit of a surprise, I am going to go for Kimi Raikkonen. Now, if he does get off the line and go into first place, for the first 6 or 7 laps, he's going to lead and probably be over a second ahead of Lewis. But then after that, Lewis should close in and maybe pass Kimi down the back straight. Kimi will, though, have a chance to undercut Hamilton because, of course, Kimi's Ultra Softs are not going to last as long as the Super Soft tyres. So he does have a chance of undercutting Lewis, but ultimately I don't think Kimi has enough pace over the 56 laps to beat Lewis Hamilton in that Mercedes. And I think he'll finish in second because when he pits from Ultra Softs to Super Softs, which I think he'll do, he'll undercut some of his rivals and gain more time. And then once they pit, Kimi will have enough of a gap to those guys at the end of the race. And that's why I think Kimi Raikkonen will finish in second. And in third, the biggest surprise, I am going for Daniel Ricciardo. Now, this is the reason why. One, he's starting on Ultra Soft tyres. I believe he's starting on Ultra Soft tyres. That's going to be important for the first few laps because he can then be quite aggressive. And after that, I think he's going to have a good race in that Red Bull because the Red Bull manages its tyres better than anyone else. So he will be able to push those Ultra Soft tyres further than, say, Kimi Raikkonen in the Ferrari or, you know, some drivers in the midfield. So I think Ricciardo might be able to make it a comfortable one stop and still have fast enough and fresh enough tyres for the end of the race. And I think Ricciardo will get past Bottas somehow and will hold off Sebastian Vettel because I just think Ricciardo in the first few laps will be so aggressive that he will pull away from Vettel, and Vettel I think is going to struggle. And when it comes to Sebastian Vettel, Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen, I am going Vettel 4th, Bottas 5th, Verstappen 6th. That is my top 6. But guys, in the chat right now with 15 minutes left until the race starts as the American National Anthem plays at the track right now, who are you going for the race win? Who are you going for second place? Who are you going for third place? And fourth, fifth and sixth? Where do you think Sebastian and Vettel will finish? And do you think Lewis Hamilton will win the world title today? Put in the chat right now. For the next 15 minutes, I will answer your comments regarding your predictions for the Grand Prix. Before I do, though, let's just cut to this of Lewis Hamilton. By the way, thank you to the 235 people watching live. Great to see you here. And if you're new to the channel, we do this every race weekend, so don't forget to subscribe by hitting subscribe on the bottom right of the screen, or clicking on my channel name, or clicking on the link in the description that goes to my channel page. Again, to sub for more content like this. We'll be doing this again in Mexico and Brazil and Abu Dhabi. Right, now let's get into some predictions. We've got plenty here in the chat. Great to see some interaction. Ben McCarthy says, Vettel first, Kimi second, Lewis third. That would be something if Vettel won the race and it was a Ferrari 1-2. By the way, I don't think I'm incorrect on this one. Ferrari have not had a 1-2 since, is it Hungary 2017? That was the last time Ferrari had a 1-2 in the race. So it's been quite a long time since Ferrari actually, you know, did well with both drivers and succeeded with both drivers. Prussia says Hamilton first, Bottas second, Vettel third. Legendary Sniper says Hamilton first, Raikkonen second, Bottas third. So he's going for the same top three as it will be starting. Ferrari 1-2, that's some addiction. He'll be hoping for Marcus Ericsson to do well because I believe he is Swedish. Nathan says Hamilton first, Raikkonen second, Vettel third, Bottas fourth, Ricciardo fifth. Legion says Hamilton first, Ricciardo second. Wow. You're really liking his chances like me then. And then Kimi Raikkonen in third. Rise, or Game of Ben, I think it actually is, says Hamilton first, Vettel second, Raikkonen third. I'm not sure if I like the Red Bull Racing suit. Is it the one they, I think was it they debuted on Twitter last night? I can't remember. It's like a Texas themed one, I think. Hamilton first, Kimi second, Leclerc third. That's from Dat King Kyle. Jeffrey says Hamilton first, Bottas second, Ricciardo third. Nibla says, "Oh come on, it's amazing." I actually think it looks quite good, but I wasn't sure if they were actually going to wear that for the race. No problem, Gamer Ben. Rishab Jane, Kimi first, Hamilton second, Bottas third, Vettel fourth, Verstappen fifth, and Hulkenberg in sixth. So he is predicting, I guess, Ricciardo to have another reliability problem. Ben McCarthy, I think Bottas will struggle immediately. I think he will. Because he's on the harder tyres, and I don't think Bottas is that confident this weekend. Aaron Chin, Raikkonen first, Hamilton second, Vettel third. People are definitely going for Lewis Hamilton to win more than, say, Raikkonen. I think it looks as though to me in the chat, most of you are going Hamilton, some are going Kimi, and a couple are going for Vettel. Addiction, Ferrari have taken off all big upgrades since Singapore and they are really fast again. Yep, that's been confirmed that those upgrades basically made their car slower. So, yeah, that's quite embarrassing actually for a team like them, who has developed through the season, I thought, until Singapore, quite well. Right, guys, for the next 10 minutes, keep putting your predictions in the chat. Note the race has not started yet. We're about 12 minutes away from the race starting. So, just get ready for the start of this race. I think it's going to be a good one. Prussia, they did a McLaren. Yep, they did. But McLaren have been doing it all season, though. That's what you got to remember. They've been doing it all season, McLaren. Ferrari only did it for 3 races, so it's not as bad. Hamilton, Raikkonen, Bottas. That's another prediction from... I can't read your first name because I'll probably absolutely destroy the pronunciation. But the second name is Emmanuel. Right, I'll just look through some more predictions. Make sure I include everyone's. iFlick. When does the race begin? 11 minutes time. 11 minutes time. Keep putting your predictions in, guys. Prediction, Twitter rages about Hamilton and track limits. That's from Ben McCarthy. Hopefully we don't have any track limits controversy this time, because last year it was such a headache and was so ridiculous. And when it comes to Twitter, I want to give a fair, but I think a criticism that needs to be given when it comes to people or the F1 community sometimes on Twitter is, I'm not saying all people, I think most people are, sane people and are very good people in the community, but there are some people that are just so over-emotional and give such hot takes to what happens on track. For example, Singapore, where Perez did what he did. Oh, Perez should be banned for 2 races. And then you had the Mercedes team orders, where... hello to Nitro84 for joining the Watchalong. Thanks for joining. Yeah, you have, the whole Bottas-Hamilton thing at Russia. People getting over-emotional at that. I just think Twitter sometimes can get pretty over-emotional when it comes to what happens in the races. Ben McCarthy, Hamilton and Vettel's quickest lap times should have been deleted when you compare it to Gasly in Q1. They did track extend at, was it turn 9? But at turn, I can't remember what turn it's called now. Is it turn 18? They didn't track extend there, where Gasly did. So, yeah, I think at that corner where Gasly track extended, they were fine. But at turn 9... yeah, everyone was going off at turn 9. Bottas says he expects blistering of the rears. That's from Niblo. I think that is going to happen because, all of Friday we had so much rain. Yesterday the track slowly got to grips and had more rubber put on it, of course with dry conditions. And today it's very hot compared to what it was like 2 days ago and even yesterday, where it did start raining after qualifying finished. So... yeah, as we are now 8 minutes away from the race starting. Oh, I thought Gasly went off at turn 1. No, he went off at the penultimate corner on the exit. That's where he went off. He went clearly too wide and did gain probably at least a tenth through that corner. Just post... can I just say about the Red Bull, doesn't that just look absolutely awesome? Can't all the cars just run as low as they do to create this? It's just so great. They have the best looking car out on track in terms of the way it goes around the corners and the sparks. Just look at that. Look at that. That is how Formula 1 should look. If you're new to the sport, that's how it should look. And that's how, hopefully, more in the future it will look. That spectacular. This is excruciating. As a Lewis Hamilton fan right now, some Ben McCarthy. I'm sure it is, because anything could happen at the start. You could have a repeat of the start at Silverstone this season, which I know, I think was it Anders Ericsson said in the chat that he believes that Kimi might take out Lewis at turn 1. I don't think he will, but yeah. Simon Busquets, are you going to broadcast the race? No, unfortunately I cannot because of copyright, and again the channel would be shut down immediately. But I will be showing pictures from the race as it goes on and be doing a radio commentary basically of the race. So if you can't watch the race, then I will be covering it here with commentary, so you won't miss a thing, don't worry. I like the Red Bull's matte black. That's from Nitro 84. Yeah, it's a beautiful looking car. Beautiful looking. Right, I'll just make sure I don't miss any comments. Just make sure I don't miss any predictions for you guys. Rishab Zhang, will Red Bull change their livery next year? No, I don't think they will. I don't see why they should. I mean, Toro Rosso didn't change their livery that much from 2017. It was kind of a similar scheme in terms of the colour scheme. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to. Swag Nation, source of the photo, please. Red Bull Racing on Twitter. That's where it's from. If you go to Red Bull's Twitter, they have some of the best photos you'll see of a Red Bull ever. It's amazing, their Twitter account, when it comes to photos. Legion, alrighty then, eating dinner while watching F1 Challenge. Hopefully you don't choke on anything in case something absolutely mental happens. Absolutely, mate, in the flesh, the car looks amazing. That's a Niblo. Yep, I can't wait. If I ever go to a race or a session again, I can't wait to go and actually see that car and the other cars up close again, because I haven't been to an F1 race in 4.5 years. But the F1 intro is now playing, guys. I will put up a picture on the screen of the formation lap as soon as, well, as the formation lap gets going, or as the race is about to get going. So get ready, guys. 5 minutes away from the start of the race. Is this the race where Lewis Hamilton is crowned champion? Put in the chat right now whether you think that will be the case, or whether you think he'll be forced to wait until Mexico, which I would like to see. The championship be forced to Mexico, even though we all know it's basically done in terms of the championship. As long as it, goes until, or goes as long as possible, that's something. At least that'll keep up the interest, I guess. So keep putting in chat, guys, your predictions for the race. 5 minutes away from the start. I'll just post this picture of when the drivers were standing for the American national anthem. By the way, how many people in the chat are actually in the States watching this watch along and watching the race? How many of you are here at the moment? Put in the chat if you're in the States. I know one person absolutely is in the States, and that's Tonka Toy Truck. Right. Here you go. Let me just readjust that a bit. Standing for the national anthem. Much hotter here at the Circuit of Americas today than it was yesterday and on Friday. Ben McCarthy, I'm in the States, or more I wish. Chris says he's in South Africa. If you're not in the States, then just put where you're from. That's fine as well. Where are you watching this watch along a race from? Put in the chat right now and I'll read it out. Knows a Boss says I'm from California. Josh Passong is from Canada. Nathan, what is the safety car chance? Safety car chance, I'm not sure what it is. It's probably, I don't know, 15 to 25%. Something like that. We have Prussia is from Germany. Ben McCarthy from South England. AJ, France. Game with Ben is from Scotland. And then Addiction is from Stockholm in Sweden. No surprise there. Peter, East Africa. Andrew Drury, Scotland. Nathan, it says Ireland. Nibbler, Australia at 5 AM. Yeah, that's not good for you guys. But at least, well, if there's a good race, at least you can say it's worth it. Legion, good old Blighty. Hello to Raghav Gupta. Arsenal says Bangladesh. Savritek, Croatia. One from Nigeria. There's plenty of you guys around the world. I didn't think there was so many different countries here in this watch along. Thank you guys for watching wherever you are, and no matter what time it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. It is such a pleasure to do this for you guys. And again, if you're new to the channel and you haven't subbed, then please do, because we do this every race weekend. We'll be doing this for Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. And yeah, we do this every race weekend, and we'll be doing this as well for 2019. So don't forget to subscribe on the bottom right of the screen. Click on my channel name or click on the link in the description that goes to my channel page. Hit the sub button and hit the notifications bell. Yudvir Singh, there you go. Cathal McCarthy says Ireland. This live commentary, yes it is. I can't obviously show the race live because of copyright issues, but I will be doing basically a radio commentary of this race and be showing as many pictures as I can of the race whilst it's going on. just make sure. As someone said, Raghav Gupta is from India at, was that 11:40 p.m. did he say? Yeah, 11:40 p.m. Great commitment. Thank you very much for coming along. So, no, Ricciardo is on super softs, not ultra softs. So Hamilton, Ricciardo, Bottas and Vettel on super softs. Shout out to Master Fee. And then the rest of the top 10 are on ultra softs, but I didn't get a good look. I didn't get a good look at what everyone else was on because the graphic went away. We've got a couple at the back there on soft tyres. That's Marcus Ericsson and Max Verstappen. So Max Verstappen is on soft tyres, so he's going to go long into this Grand Prix. Yes, the formation lap has started. That's on Nitro 84. Formation lap underway. The race starts in just, I'd say, under 2 minutes' time. Get ready, guys. This could be the championship decider. Can Hamilton win, or will Vettel make him wait? As they now come through the S's, turns, and they're just saying on the screen, turns 3 and 4 are modelled on the Silverstone Maggots Beckett's complex, and it's quite clear to see where the inspiration comes from. Hamilton will win. That's what he says. Get out of your TARDIS and watch the US Grand Prix. That's from Ben McCarthy. Kimi might use tactics at turn 1. Lol. Andrew Drury said that. We'll see. I don't want to get into, you know, what could happen. Let's just see what happens and react to what happens. Kind of like we have done for all the watch-alongs. Raghav Gupta, Vettel will very aggressively try to overtake Danny Rick. He's desperate and can make a mistake there. That's one thing to watch out for as well, is Sebastian, of course, his confidence is quite low. So, coming into this race, what's going through his head? Is he intending to be aggressive, or does he think I need to be cautious in getting past Bottas, Ricciardo, my teammate? What's going through his head? What plan does he have for this race? What is his plan? I'm very keen to see. If he's overly aggressive, then I think he's going to make a mistake eventually. As now Lewis Hamilton comes to the final corner. So, here we go. The start is about to happen in the next half a minute. Are you going to broadcast the race live? No, I can't broadcast it in terms of video because, again, copyright issues. But I will show as many pictures on the screen as I can. And I will provide a radio commentary, I guess you could say, of this race. I'll try and post this picture very quickly before the race starts of the formation lap. As Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position. Will he win this Grand Prix? There you go, that's the formation lap. And the car's towards more of the rear end of the field. So, here we go. Just what Prussia says, this is where the fun begins. Get ready, guys, to the 370 people watching live. Get ready for the start of the American Grand Prix. As the last cars, the Toro Rossos line up at the back of the grid. And here we go. When will the lights come on? Taking a bit long to come on. Here they come on. Can Lewis Hamilton win his 5th World Championship today? And it is lights out and away we go at the US Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen does have a good start down the inside. Kimi Raikkonen, will he beat Lewis into turn 1? Yes, he does. Kimi Raikkonen leads the US Grand Prix. Vettel's off the track. Ricciardo is trying to pass Bottas. Can he get past? No, he can't. Bottas pushes him out. So Kimi Raikkonen leads from Lewis Hamilton 2nd, Bottas 3rd, and it is Ricciardo. Cars off in the background, plenty of cars off. That might be a safety car if there's debris on the track. There's chaos through the S's section, but Kimi Raikkonen leads as contact there. There's a Sauber dive bombing a Force India at a corner where you can't overtake. Yellow flag in sector 1, and yep, there's chaos in the midfield. That's what we need to be seeing right now. as Sebastian Vettel is all over the back of Daniel Ricciardo. Is he going to get past on the back straight? Yes, he is. Way too much straight line speed as Bottas is very close to Hamilton's. Ricciardo tries to come back. Oh, Vettel gets out of shape, and does he go wide? Yes, he does. And oh, spin in the background. I think that was Charles Leclerc as Vettel. He can't pass surely because there's a big yellow flag. Contact! Vettel spins! Vettel spins! Vettel has spun and he's gone back to the back of the grid, I think. What a chaotic start. Vettel has bottled it again. We'll have to see a replay. There's chaos going on everywhere. Everyone is not on the racing line. They're all over the place. Here comes Vettel then. Very weird spin. He just instantly touched Ricciardo and spun. So Raikkonen has a clear lead over Lewis Hamilton in second. Bottas third, Ricciardo fourth. And then the two Renaults of, is it Hulkenberg and Sainz? What a start by Carlos Sainz. At the minute, I'm going to have to lean towards that is Vettel's fault as Max Verstappen on soft tyres goes down the inside of the Haas of Romain Grosjean, I believe that is. There's a Williams right up there as well as Vettel passes a Toro Rosso. Wow, what a start. And yes, the championship is, unless Hamilton has an issue, the championship is over. Vettel has bottled it again. Wow, let me just calm down after that start. That was a mega start. Almost lost my voice when Vettel spun. I didn't expect that to happen. As Lance Stroll was coming to the pits, so he was one of the cars who crashed at the back, and also McLaren of, there's a Haas of Grosjean. That's such a shame for Haas. Oh, that's so bad for Haas. Last thing they needed. As Vettel now closes on Van Dorn and will go down the inside to get past. Right, I'll now post a picture, guys, of the start of this race. But we do have a very mixed up grid. We're going to have a good race. So here you go. Kimi Raikkonen basically did the exact same thing that Vettel did last season. Went straight to the inside and got ahead. Bullied his way past. Exactly what he needed to do. Wow, what a start. So, Max Verstappen now closing on Sergio Perez for 8th. He does track extend a bit, but he didn't gain an advantage there. As Kimi Raikkonen does the fastest lap of 140.3. Kimi's on it. As Verstappen closes on Perez going down to turn 1. Can he go down the inside? No, he's not. He's not close enough. The Force India much faster in a straight line. First lap incidents are under investigation. That's from FIA Race Control. John, it's not bottling, it's Vetteling. Sorry if I'm ignoring you guys at the minute, but there's so much going on. I need to keep my eyes peeled on my TV. So I'll try to read the questions and the comments. But yeah, we've got a great start here. Raikkonen is 2.3 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So Raikkonen is doing exactly at the moment what he needs to do. Flaming Fury, I'm sorry, but Vettel definitely needs a penalty. It's so obvious. I want to see a replay. Another replay. I think we did see a replay, but so much was going on. I haven't really had a clear mind to really think about it and see it. For me, it looks as though it is more Vettel's fault than Ricciardo's fault. I think Vettel was definitely at fault for that incident. As Vettel gets past a Toro Rosso and it now closes up to Sergei Sorokin, who's in P11. What a start for him. Yeah, it's definitely more Vettel's fault, but I'm not sure. As Vettel goes down the inside of Sorokin at turn 15, I'm not sure whether Vettel should get a penalty for that or not. If you think he should, guys, put in the chat right now and I will read it out. Fernando Alonso is out already, apparently. Okay, as we now get a replay of the start. So, yep, Kimi, in the second phase of the start, just rocketed past Hamilton and on those fresher tyres. So, and then Sebastian went off the track. You know what? One of those Renaults that went off, I think might be in slight trouble there. So Raikkonen, yeah, nice and aggressive down the inside. Push Lewis wide, exactly what you need to do. By the way, thank you to the 436 people watching live. Great to do this for you guys. And again, if you have not subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe on the bottom right of the screen. Click on my channel name or click on the link in the description to subscribe. We do this every race weekend. As we see now what happened at the back. And Stroll just went straight into Alonso. Let's see what happened here. Stroll's way too aggressive there. That gap was always going to close. How did Alonso drop out? Because Lance Stroll went straight into him at turn 4 and knocked him out of the Grand Prix. Rip Vettel's championship hopes. Yep. Here's another replay then of Vettel. I don't think he'll get a penalty for that. This is why. Because he spun and went nearly to the back of the grid. So he's already took some punishment, I guess you could say. I understand. Oh, that's it. So Grosjean hit Leclerc. Grosjean he does what he does a lot, I'm afraid. Goes into other drivers. But I think Vettel might not get a penalty because he got the punishment of spinning and falling to the back. So I'm not sure Vettel will get a penalty, but if he does get a penalty, then I don't think he can argue against it. He clearly caused the accident and the contact. Stroll, come on. Yeah. I can't believe he actually thought there was a gap there to get his car through and go past. I can't believe he actually thought there was a gap. Clearly not a gap. Clearly not a gap. Well, now Lewis Hamilton is closing on Kimi Raikkonen. It's gone from 2.3 to now 1.3 at during the middle of lap 5 out of 56. Yep, Grosjean is also out. So Romain Grosjean and Fernando Alonso out of the race. So now it's settled down. I'm going to read out the race order. So Kimi Raikkonen leads from Lewis Hamilton second, as they just take away the graphic for God's sake. It's just a replay of Vettel passing Magnussen down into turn 1. Right, so it is Raikkonen leading from Hamilton second, Bottas third, Ricciardo is fourth, Hulkenberg fifth, Sainz in sixth, Verstappen seventh, Ocon eighth, Perez ninth, Vettel 10th, and then Magnussen is P11, Sirotkin 12th, Hartley 13th, Van Dorn 14th, Ericsson 15th, Gasly 16th, Leclerc 17th, Stroll is 18th, and we already have 2 retirements in Romain Grosjean and Fernando Alonso as Kimi Raikkonen does the new fastest lap of the race and now pulls the gap to 2 seconds. Master Fee, I hope Hamilton wins. I can understand why if you want him to win the championship, as Vettel goes down the inside of the Force India at turn 1. The Force India basically just moves out the way for him as Lance Stroll gets a drive-through penalty, and that for me is fair because it was such a stupid accident he caused. I know it's on lap 1 and normally you have to be a bit more lenient to lap 1 accidents, but he went for a gap that was always going to close and he caused the contact. So you'd have to say for Lance Stroll, clearly at fault. Clearly at fault. Right. Kimi Raikkonen, 1.7 seconds on the lead. He's doing just about good enough at the moment. Can Kimi win? Can he do it? Hopefully he does. Right, I'm going to try, guys, to find a picture. Right, so I've got this picture of Sebastian Vettel spinning, so I'll post that for you guys now. As Kimi Raikkonen is coming to the end of lap 6. As it stands, guys, Lewis Hamilton will win the 2018 Drivers' Championship because Vettel is 9th and Hamilton is 2nd. Hamilton has to outscore Vettel by 8 points to win the championship. And he's currently outscoring him by, 16 points? So yeah, he's doing definitely enough, is Lewis Hamilton. Here you go. This was the moment at turn 13, exit of turn 13. Going into the side of Ricciardo and then spinning. Vettel again bottling it. When is he going to learn? Just when is he going to learn? It looks as though never, to me. Hashtag Kimi for president. I think we can all subscribe to that idea. As Max Verstappen in P6 has passed Carlos Sainz and is now closing up to Nico Hulkenberg and will probably pass him at the end of this lap. Interesting to point out with Max is he's on soft compound tyres, and with Max, if he can go long into this Grand Prix and not lose that much time to the leaders, he can then go for ultra softs at the end and be fast. So don't rule out Max as he now goes for the move on Nico Hulkenberg and goes down the inside and is past. And Max Verstappen up to 5th as Sebastian Vettel gets past Esteban Ocon. Vettel very aggressive, and that's another thing to note is, can Vettel catch Verstappen in his first stint? If he does, we're going to get another mega battle because we know what Vettel and Verstappen are like once they actually battle. Prussia really, guys, the championship was over in Germany, although we did not know it. Yeah, the championship definitely swung after Hockenheim. Kimmins Vettel is a joke, as Raikkonen has extended his gap to 2.3 over Lewis Hamilton. By the way, Sebastian Vettel is already about a pit stop behind his teammate, so I don't see how Vettel can finish ahead of Raikkonen unless there's a safety car or something. Raghav Gupta, Vettel will spin again if he meets Verstappen. I wouldn't be surprised. When them two race each other, contact normally does happen. As the race has now calmed down a bit from those frantic first 3 or 4 laps. Hamilton at the moment is going to be your 5-time world champion, but there is still about, how many laps left? 48 laps left of this US Grand Prix. Long way to go yet. Anything can happen. As Kimi Raikkonen is gaining all of the time in the 3rd sector. They're about equal, Raikkonen and Hamilton, in the first 2 sectors. But then in the 2nd sector, Raikkonen is really pulling away. So Raikkonen is about 2.5 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. I really hope Kimi can win. It's now gone down to 2 seconds. By the way, Valtteri Bottas has clearly dropped off massively from Hamilton and Raikkonen. Bottas is nowhere near the pace. Nowhere near the pace. John, and 2019 6 times and 2020 7 times. I saw Nigel Mansell said he thinks that's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised. No further action when it comes to Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel. That's from the stewards, so no penalty. And I thought that would happen, to be honest. Come on, Kimi. Don't let Hamilton win. I hope Kimi does win. I want to see a final Kimi Raikkonen victory. I think we all do. Just one more, so we can, live that Kimi ecstasy that happens once he wins a race. Instead of Vettel, it's Vottel because he bottles it. Oh my god. You guys obviously not approving of Sebastian Vettel. I'm not surprised. Yeah, he's bottled it again. That's how many races in a row? Oh no! Oh no! No! Daniel Ricciardo's out! Oh, why does this happen every time? He didn't even make lap 10. Didn't even make lap 10 and his car has completely stopped. Please, everyone, send your condolences to Niblo331 in the chat, because I think he needs it right now. Oh dear, and I think they might need a virtual safety car for that, because that car is not parked in a safe place. Yep, everyone, please, oh, Ricciardo looks so dejected. If you can, please, comfort Niblo during this difficult time. John, so funny. Welcome to Renault, Danny. Bottas is 3rd and 7 seconds off the lead. Bottas is nowhere near the pace. He's losing almost a second a lap to the leaders as the race has kind of fizzled out at the moment because we have this yellow flag. And because cars are now getting spaced out. Legion, I can't believe it. I think I said, didn't I, during the build-up, like, oh, come on, it can't happen again, can it? 10 laps in, it happens. Here we go. So, yeah, he... Does he... Oh, that's so... So as soon as he comes out of turn 11, the car immediately shuts down and he has to stop immediately. Just like what happened in Bahrain. What a joke. Renault, get your act together. Get your act together. This is ridiculous. You can't even last 10 laps in a US Grand Prix. Oh, I feel so sorry for Ricciardo. Has he made the wrong decision to go to Renault? Put in the chat whether you think he has or not. I think we need to wait until next season, but it doesn't look great for him, does it? Virtual safety car has been deployed. Will anyone pit under this VSC? As Vettel is now past Carlos Sainz, by the way, and is closing for Hulkenberg. What will Vettel do? Will he pit? No, he's not going to pit. I'm just wondering, will anyone pit? Because they're not too far away from their pit window. So will anyone decide to pit and get those fresher tyres and not lose as much time as they could under green flag conditions? Lewis Hamilton looks a bit closer to Kimi Raikkonen than he should be. Hulkenberg and Sainz don't have many problems. Yeah, that's quite coincidental, isn't it? The Renault Works team has good reliability most of the time, but Red Bull don't ever have good reliability. Coincidence, isn't it? Let's not get our tinfoil hats on. Sirotkin is in the pits, yes, and Van Dorn and Gasly and Charles Leclerc have pitted. That's a smart move because they won't lose as much time pitting and will now get a jump in the pit stop phases. And if this... So Mercedes are coming out. Mercedes are coming out for a pit stop. Are they going to pit? If they do pit, Kimi has to pit too. To be honest, I think if the virtual safety car stays out, by the time Kimi and Lewis get to the start-finish line, or get around to the final corner, Kimi should pit, even if Lewis doesn't, because he won't lose as much time pitting as he would do under green flag conditions. So Kimi has to pit, and so does Lewis, I think. Gap only half a second between Kimi Raikkonen and Lewis Hamilton. So, does Kimi come in? He feigns to go in and then Lewis does. Oh, no. Ferrari, what have you done? No. Oh, for God's sake. Ferrari have bottled it. I'm calling it. Ferrari have bottled it. You have to pit in a virtual safety car. If you're in the pit window, you have to pit. What are they thinking? You can't lose as much time during a virtual safety car period as you would in normal racing conditions. Why not pit? If you have the opportunity to and you're in a pit window, pit. Oh, why Ferrari? Why? Mr. Rueda, the strategist at Ferrari, has just earned himself... well, he should have earned himself the sack many races ago. Hey guys, it seems to be deja vu of Suzuka. As we now have green flags, Kimi Raikkonen, his win is all over. It's all over unless Lewis Hamilton has an issue. Kimi Raikkonen is not going to win this race now because Ferrari bottled it again. Will the softs make it to the end? Yes, they will. The softs will make the end of the race. What has Vettel done? Some sizzle. He had contact with Daniel Ricciardo on the first lap, dropped back down to about 15th, and is now back up to 6th, and is about to pass Nico Hulkenberg for 5th place. I will say, though, Renault are on for a very strong result. If Renault finish in 6th and 7th, I think that pretty much confirms, as Vettel passes Hulkenberg, that pretty much confirms that Renault will finish 4th in the Constructors, if Renault don't have reliability problems for the last 3 races. Peter, KD Matthews, Ferrari at it again. Absolutely. And I can't believe they did that. So stupid. How dumb do you have to be? I'm sat in my bedroom and I could have told you that was the thing to do. But the person who's being paid to make these decisions hasn't got a Scooby-Doo. That just shows you how poor their strategy or their strategist is. So bad. Right, I'll post a picture of Daniel Ricciardo looking very just distraught at what's happened. I will say though, after that start, the race has kind of got a bit boring, so I'm hoping something happens. In the remaining laps, we've got 43 laps to go. There you go, that's Daniel Ricciardo. Yeah, I feel very sorry for him, I have to say. Just looking, lots of you talking about Ferrari. Prussia, let's get us up the Ferrari pit wall. We don't know what will happen yet, so calm down. Yeah, that's a good point, but if Lewis Hamilton finishes the race, then I don't see how Kimi Raikkonen, there's some debris on the outside of the track there. I don't see how Kimi Raikkonen can possibly win. That strategy mistake was so poor. So poor. Again, Lewis might have a reliability problem. He might do, but if he doesn't, how can Kimi Raikkonen win this race, realistically? Unless he puts on super softs at the end, is very quick. As Valtteri Bottas lets Lewis Hamilton through. Team orders there. So Lewis Hamilton up to second, has just done the fastest lap of 1:38.8. I'm not going to delete the photo, guys. I'm going to wait until I find a new one. Once I find a new one, then I will make sure to get rid of that picture. Arvid, let's be honest, Kimi would have bottled it anyways. I don't think he would have. He was doing very well up until that point, but then his team again let him down. Ricciardo was so happy to race here, and he's out. He's always happy to race here. He loves racing in the United States, but it just doesn't seem in the last couple races here to have any luck. He's let him through. Fudge. Yep, Hamilton up to second, and only 6.8 ahead, or 6.8 behind, sorry, Kimi Raikkonen. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean by you have to pit under a virtual safety car because you lose a lot less time doing so. Hamilton now is 3/4, not even, he's what? A quarter of a pit stop behind Kimi Raikkonen? That's nothing. Once Kimi pits, Kimi will be about 15 seconds behind. And then Lewis is catching him with a second a lap. By the time Kimi Raikkonen pits, he's going to be 15 seconds behind and he won't have the pace to catch him. That's why I am complaining and not agreeing with that decision. It's a very poor one. I think it's quite obvious to see that it's poor. Right, I'll post a new picture for you guys to remove this picture for you Danny Rick fans. And get a picture of Sebastian Vettel just to update you guys on his progress. He's now to P5, got past the two Renaults. So, I guess, back in contention, I guess. I don't think he'll get a podium, though. As Raikkonen is out now, only 4.8 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's gaining so much time. And then you have Bottas, who is third, quite a bit off the lead. I will say, though, Max Verstappen, who's on soft tyres, he's only 3.5 seconds behind Bottas on the softs compared to Bottas's super softs. So Verstappen is right in play for a podium. He can definitely get a podium. Watch out for Max. Just like I said in my build-up, watch out for Max Verstappen. We're just looking at the midfield here. Ocon and Perez only separated by 1.5 seconds in 8th and 9th place. Why did Kimi not pit? That's from Hallam899. Well, because Ferrari made another strategy mistake. They should have pitted under the virtual safety car. They would not have lost out at all unless they made a bad pit stop. They wouldn't have lost out at all to Hamilton if they pitted like he did. And if Hamilton stayed out, then Kimi would have gained. So if Kimi pits, he would have gained either way, whether Lewis pitted or not. That's why it's such a bad mistake. Because there was no way he could pit and not lose out unless, you know, his tyres weren't fitted on correctly. Yeah, damn it, Ferrari. Lots of people upset about Ferrari. I am as well, because I think they've cost Kimi the win there. Now Hamilton's only 3.5 seconds behind. Lewis is going to pass him soon. Kimi's still on his ultra softs and Hamilton on the soft tyres, which I have to say the soft tyre is the tyre to be on. It is the tyre to be on. I think everyone who has not pitted yet will be going to soft tyres. By the way, Ericsson, Sorokin, Van Dorn, Gasly, Leclerc and Stroll, that's from 12th to 17th, are all on soft tyres and they're all doing well. So once the drivers who have not pitted yet pit, soft tyres need to go on that car, whatever car that is. Master Fee, as a Mercedes fan, I'm happy. I'm sure you are. As Lewis continues to close in. The reason Lewis is closing in, guys, is because one, the track is a lot hotter for this race, and I think that's suiting the soft tyres a bit more, so they're not overheating those tyres compared to the ultra softs, which are a lot softer. And as well, it's not rocket science, but of course, the harder tyre you're on, the harder you can push. So Kimi right now can't really push. Lewis can push as hard as he wants right now because those tyres are not going to die. Stig, how many laps left? We have 39 laps left. It's lap 17 out of 56. The race order is Kimi Raikkonen leads from Lewis Hamilton 2nd, Bottas 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Vettel 5th, and then Hulkenberg 6th, Sainz in 7th, Ocon 8th, Perez 9th, Magnussen is in 10th, Hartley is 11th, then Ericsson 12th, Sorokin 13th, Van Dorn 14th, Gasly 15th, Leclerc 16th and Stroll 17th. Stroll is last of all the runners. And then your retirements are Daniel Ricciardo again, Fernando Alonso and Romain Grosjean. That is the field on lap 17. As Hamilton continues to close on Kimi. Why Ferrari? Why do you have to do this to people, to your fans every race? Ferrari, a strategic department at its best. Yep, again, the finest work here being done by the strategist and the strategy department at Ferrari. This is prime Ferrari right here. This is, in my opinion, the worst strategy mistake yet. I'm fuming. I have to agree. I think this is the worst one because the strategists, they know the pluses and the minuses, I guess you could say, of pitting or not pitting under a virtual safety car. They know why. They know what could go wrong by pitting and what couldn't. There was no way, if Kimi Raikkonen came in for a pit stop and the pit stop was fine, say it was 3 seconds, there was no way Kimi would lose out to Hamilton because he would have come out ahead of Hamilton in the pit lane if Hamilton pitted as well. And if Hamilton stays out, Kimi gains because you can't lose as much time in the pit stop phase during a virtual safety car period. Yeah, Kimi needs to come in for a pit stop, I think. As Bottas is struggling in 3rd place, I have to say. He is gaining, I think, on Kimi Raikkonen, so I guess that's something. Arriva Bene looks like he's interrogating someone for a mistake. He should be. He absolutely should be. Yeah, I called it. I absolutely called it. Carlos Sainz under investigation for gaining an advantage by going off the track at the exit of turn 1. I called it and I said the Renault might be in trouble for that. And if you go and look at the replay, he did gain a position by going off the track. I think Carlos might get a 5-second time penalty for that. Every time since Hockenheim. Yep, that's from Engujin in the chat. Ferrari, strategic masterstroke. Absolutely. It's just another great performance by Ferrari, we have to say. As Hamilton now only a second behind. He's gained about 7 seconds in 7 laps. Lap 19 out of 56. Roman is such an idiot. Paul Leclerc. Yeah, clearly Roman's fault. I wouldn't be surprised if Grosjean had a grid penalty for Mexico. He clearly caused that that crash. And again, Ferrari, driver and team, bottling it. They keep doing it. When are they going to stop? When are they going to stop? Can they not have a weekend where they don't bottle it? Is that even possible? As Lewis is now within DRS of Kimi Raikkonen, so he might go for a pass here. As I'm just going to put an image here of Lewis on the screen. Here you go. The person who's probably going to win his 5th World Championship today, as Lewis closes on Raikkonen, coming up to the end of the back straight, but it's not close enough. If he stays close enough for another lap, then Lewis should get past him on lap 20. So there you go. That's Lewis Hamilton for all you Hamilton fans. Yeah, Lewis has way more grip than Kimi. Kimi is struggling on the ultra soft tyres. I think this gamble is just not working. Will Kimi pit? Is Kimi going to pit? No, Kimi stays out. Game of Ben. I don't want to jinx that I have jinxed it that Kimi will hit Hamilton. Oh, what's going on here? Lewis is a lot closer to Kimi. Did Kimi make a mistake in the final corner there? I think he may have done. Will Lewis go down the inside of Kimi Raikkonen? Oh, Kimi defends. And he'll do the switchback. Hamilton, will it work? He does get better grip, but it's not going to work in terms of getting past. Kimi made a mistake there at the final corner, I think. He gets close, but he can't pass into there, as Lance Stroll proved on lap 1. Hamilton is going to be past Raikkonen on the back straight. He has way more grip. The soft tyres are working way better. And by the way, Bottas and Verstappen are closing in. So if Kimi does not get past and stays out, we're going to get a bit of a train behind Kimi Raikkonen. So here comes Lewis. Takes a wider line to get better traction out the corner. That's very smart because he's on better tyres. So here comes Lewis. Can he get past down into turn 12? No, not close enough. Not close enough. But he does a switchback. Gets more grip that way. Kimi needs to stay on the racing line. If he starts defending, he's going to lose his position. Once he starts defending and go onto the dirtier side of the track, like he's done there a bit, then you're going to really lose out in your battle. They come through this long right-hander which kills the tyres. This is where Raikkonen's tyres will be suffering the most, as his car almost lost it over the bump through that corner. As Lewis now comes through the final corner, he's not as close to Raikkonen as he was before. Bottas is closing in a lot, and so is Verstappen. We're getting a bit of a train here behind Kimi Raikkonen. If Kimi stays out, you know what? If Kimi stays out long enough, Vettel will join the train. So Ferrari definitely did not plan this. There's no way Ferrari planned this to happen. For them to form a 5-car train, if possible. And Lewis, oh, does he go for the move? He's very close. Look at the grip he has. Way more grip through the S's on the soft tyres compared to the ultra softs, which have done 21 laps. Carlos Sainz does have a 5-second time penalty, and he does deserve it. He gained an advantage by going off the track. Nice to see the FIA coming down on track limits violations, as Lewis is closer to Kimi on the back straight by about the 10th and a half. Will he go for the move? He closes. Will he go for the move down the inside? No, he doesn't. Kimi has to defend. Lewis will cut underneath. He gets great drive off the corner. Is Lewis going to go right round the outside? No, he doesn't. Kimi blocks him off. Great move. Or great defensive move, sorry, by Kimi Raikkonen. Lewis again tries to pass. Bottas is right behind them as well now. So if Kimi stays out, then I think that is their plan, to form a train. Is Lewis going to go right on the outside? No, he's not. Kimi's car is moving all over the place. As Lewis goes way off the track and Kimi Raikkonen finally pits. That was some nervous stuff for Kimi Raikkonen. His car looked as though it was going to fall right off the track and have a massive accident. As he comes in and puts soft tyres on, and, well, a possibility of a race win is now completely gone. So, well done, Ferrari. You've done it yet again. You've bottled it. So now, Lewis Hamilton leads from Valtteri Bottas second. Max Verstappen is third. Sebastian Vettel is fourth. With Kimi Raikkonen now fifth as he exits the pit lane. By the way, Hamilton has pitted. Bottas has not pitted. Verstappen has not pitted. Neither has Vettel. So, we're going to get some interesting things on strategy here. As Kimi is now coming through the first sector right, I'll try and post a picture of Hamilton behind Raikkonen, which was happening a couple of moments ago, as Lewis Hamilton is now going very, very fast. He's trying to build a gap to others to keep himself safe. As it stands, Vettel needs to climb 2 positions to keep the championship alive. Here you go. That's when Lewis was closing on Kimi so much, and they were so close to having an accident, I have to say. Hamilton wins the race. Doesn't say Rugara. Pretty much, I think Lewis will win this race now. If he doesn't have a reliability problem, Lewis should win the Grand Prix. But of course, this is Formula 1. Anything can happen. As Bottas comes through the final corner, he's only 2.2 ahead of Verstappen, who started at the back. That just shows you the Red Bull, when it comes to race pace, is very good. And that's why I feel sorry, really, for Daniel Ricciardo, as Max Verstappen pits. What tyres go on? Is that a set of super softs? Yes, it is. Super soft tyres for Max, so now he can attack. Bottas has to pit at the end of this lap, because Max is now going to give it everything and is going to have the undercut on Bottas. So Valtteri needs to pit. As Verstappen comes through the first sector. What do you guys, by the way, think of the race so far? We're almost halfway through this Grand Prix. What have you thought of this race so far? Niblo, 2-stop for Max. Maybe. It depends what the others do. It depends. As Lewis Hamilton is just coming through turn 15 now. They're showing him on the screen. It depends what Bottas and Vettel do. If they go for a 2-stop, then I think Verstappen will as well. It just, again, it depends on what their rivals do. Lots of drama. Seems interesting for once. As here comes Valtteri Bottas for a pit stop. Is he far enough ahead of Verstappen? It's about 20 seconds, the gap between Bottas and Verstappen. Bottas comes into the pits. This needs to go well for Bottas, and it does. Leaves the pit box. And where will Max be compared to Valtteri? Where is Max? So Vettel goes through, so does Kimi Raikkonen. Here comes Max Verstappen. Max is going to get past. Max has undercut and got past Valtteri Bottas. So Max Verstappen is in to a net 3rd place, because Sebastian Vettel is 2nd and has not pitted yet. And by the way, Max is not that far behind Kimi Raikkonen, and Max is on softer tyres and fresher tyres. So Max might be able to go after Kimi Raikkonen, even though Kimi has just done the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. By the way, thank you to the 509 people watching live. Such a pleasure to do this for you guys. If you're new to the channel, we do this every race weekend. So don't forget to subscribe on the bottom right of the screen, or click on my channel name, or click in the link in the description that goes to my channel page so you can sub to the channel. As Vettel just lapped Lance Stroll. Kimi is now closing in on him to pass him. Hamilton has a 17 second lead now over Vettel. Yes, he does. And that's a net. That's not, Hamilton hasn't pitted yet. That's a real lead. Lewis has almost a pit stop in hand. The Super Soft should not last that long. We'll have to see. Maybe they can get it to go a bit longer, as Ocon, who has pitted, tries to pass Pierre Gasly, who has not pitted, and Ocon gets past. Nice bit of battling down to turn 15. Nice switchback. Gasly locking up his front left. And Ocon getting past. As Kimi Raikkonen now goes past Sebastian Vettel. Vettel lets Raikkonen through. So I think that pretty much confirms that Vettel just is not going to be able to fight for second in this Grand Prix. I think Vettel needs to pit soon. Unless they think Bottas and Verstappen are going to... Well, Bottas won't do a one-stop. But unless they think Verstappen is going to do a two-stop, they need to pit. What lap is the race in? It is lap 25 out of 56. So, the race order, guys, is Lewis Hamilton leads. I'll just wait a minute for this replay of Raikkonen going past Vettel down into turn 1. Just wait for the race order to come back up and then I'll read it to you guys. Right, so it's Lewis Hamilton leads from Kimi Raikkonen second, Vettel third. There he is, Inaki Rueda. He's on the screen right now. That is the guy who is head of race strategy. And that's the guy who, this might sound harsh, but he needs to be fired. He needs to be fired. He's not doing a good enough job. So there you go. There is visual confirmation of the race strategist. So, yeah, there you go. But the race order, guys, is Lewis Hamilton leads from Kimi Raikkonen second, Sebastian Vettel third, Max Verstappen is fourth, Bottas is fifth, Perez is 6th, Magnussen is 7th, Hulkenberg 8th, Hartley 9th, Ericsson 10th, Sirotkin 11th, Sainz 12th, Ocon 13th. Sainz is actually just past Sirotkin for P11. And then Ocon 13th, Van Dorn 14th, Gasly 15th, Leclerc 16th, Stroll 17th. And your retirements on lap 26 out of 56 are Daniel Ricciardo, Romain Grosjean and Fernando Alonso. Whoever that guy is, please get him out. Yep, I agree. It might sound harsh to advocate for someone losing their job, but if you don't do your job to the standard you're expected to, and you continually make errors that lead to your team's downfall, you can't be expected to keep your job. He has to go. Has to go. If they don't fire their strategist, then they can't sit there and wonder why they're not going to win a world championship, as Max is now closing on Vettel. Now this could get interesting, because we know with Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel that these two get a bit feisty. Oh, Verstappen very close. Is he going to go for the move here? Is Vettel going to defend? Oh, that was very close then. Vettel moved late. Here's where Vettel passed Raikkonen. Is Vettel going to go right around the outside? Yes, he does. That's not the greatest move, because I think Verstappen has way more grip. But still, good move by Max Verstappen. So Max now is in third place. If the strategist deserves to be fired, then so does Vettel. That's from Raghav Gupta. I disagree. If Vettel does this again in 2019, then yes. But the strategist at Ferrari has made way more mistakes than Sebastian has. For both drivers, not just, with Vettel for Vettel. As Vettel has pitted and put on the soft compound tyre, so he will go to the end of this Grand Prix. Right, I'll try and post a new picture now, guys. We are about halfway through the US Grand Prix, so that's about halfway to go until the race ends and until Lewis Hamilton is crowned your 2018 Drivers' World Champion. Right, here you go, guys. This is when Verstappen undercut Valtteri Bottas. Bottas was a bit surprised, I think, that Verstappen got past and locked his tyres. As Vettel now out on track. McLaren is a disgrace. Yep, they are. By the way, McLaren are, well, one car is out and Van Dorn is 13th. So, with Van Dorn, not too bad, but he did gain from first lap incidents. Can you talk about the DNF? I missed it. That's a masked man. The DNFs are Daniel Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, and Romain Grosjean. That are your retirements. Lewis Hamilton is 17 seconds ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. Kimi is not gaining, and he's not going to. I'm just looking at Verstappen, though. Is Verstappen gaining at all? Verstappen is gaining, as Brendan Hartley has just been passed by Carlos Sainz, and Hartley got passed again. So I'm going to assume they're side by side at the moment, or Sainz made a mistake when passing him. Oh no, Sainz got back passed again. So Carlos Sainz up to P8. Because he's a wingman. I don't know if you're talking about Bottas or Raikkonen there. I did predict Lewis Hamilton to win ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. I did predict that. But I didn't think it'd play out like this. I didn't think Ferrari would make such a basic error. I know they've made so many basic errors, but not that bad. I mean, if you keep making mistakes, but every time you make a mistake, it's an even worse mistake than the one before, that's worrying. That is worrying, because that shows that, you know, you really don't have a clue what you're doing, I think. As Hamilton is now clearly in the lead, and I'm afraid, guys, I don't think the second half of this race is really going to be that exciting, as this is when Kimi Raikkonen was let through by Sebastian Vettel. Yeah, I don't think this race is going to be very exciting going forward for the last, how many laps? 27 laps. The field has spread out quite a bit. So, if you want, guys, put in the chat what you think of Ferrari and their strategy. What do you think about it? Just put in the chat your thoughts and I'll read it out. Because clearly this race has took a downturn when it comes to excitement. WTF is wrong with Ferrari? I don't know. Like, you know, every team makes mistakes. I can accept that, but not this amount. They are one of the worst teams on the grid when it comes to strategy, if not the worst. I don't understand their decisions anymore. I don't get anything they do. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not harsh to sack him. He gets paid thousands and makes simple mistakes. And that's another thing. I think that kind of, you know, if anyone says I'm being too harsh, he does get paid a lot of money. So it's not like he's going to be living on the streets if he does get sacked by Ferrari. He's not going to get, you know, he's not going to be homeless. He's going to find another job somewhere. Legion, the prancing horse has lost its brain. It has. It really has. Yeah, sorry about that. There's people spamming links in the chat. Niblo, thankfully, is doing his best to remove them. So, yeah, we're trying our best here. He has got to go. That's from Seirugara. Yep, he does. He has to go. How can they keep him? No one out there can give me an actual proper explanation as to why he deserves to keep his job. Nobody out there can give me an argument on that. An argument against that. No one can. You can't make that many mistakes and then just be like, oh, he can still stay. He's not doing that bad. He's cost the team so many points. Not just Vettel, but Raikkonen as well. He will stay for next season, guarantee you. Yeah, knowing Ferrari, he will, and he'll stay for 2020. And then they'll be like, oh, why didn't we win the title in this time period? Maybe it's because we had this guy employed who didn't know what he was doing. Anyway, let's forget about that and focus on the last 25 laps of the US Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton still leads by 17 seconds from Kimi Raikkonen. And, well, guys, I'm going to be honest. If I could tell you exciting things were going on and could get excited, I would. But there's nothing exciting going on right now at the track. It's very processional. He will stay because Ferrari wants Mercedes to win. Some blisters there on the right rear tyre of Lewis Hamilton on his soft tyres. Interesting. Arriva Bene saying going to be saying Arriva, what's that say? Arrivederci to the strategist. Yeah, hopefully he does. How likely is Lewis to point? I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. But if you're asking about Lewis to win the championship, right now, as it stands, Lewis Hamilton will be crowned champion. Vettel has to pass Bottas, Verstappen and Kimi Raikkonen to continue this championship. That's it. How likely is Lewis to pit? That's what Nathan was asking. Not at all. These soft tyres will go to the end of this Grand Prix, which is annoying. I wish they could do at least 2 stops, but yeah. That's the way it is with the tyres at the minute. Master Fee, I think Mercedes paid the Ferrari strategist to mess up. Maybe they did. Hamilton comes across the line for lap 32. Basically, because the race is so boring, we're only watching on the screen right now Lewis Hamilton. There's nothing else going on out there on the track. And that's why I can't really post any pictures right now, because there's nothing going on. It's very boring right now. Ted Kravitz just said, he says Pirelli won't make it to the end. Is that for Hamilton or Verstappen? Who are you referencing there? Max Clayton, is it? Yeah. Aaron Kimi and Verstappen, driver of the day. We'll get on to driver of the day, my race reaction. By the way, guys, just to let you guys know, 45 minutes after the race ends at 9:30 PM UK time, so that's in about an hour and 20 minutes time, I will go live for an hour for the race reaction for the 2018 US Grand Prix. So don't forget to join that and react with me to what happened in the race and kind of go back and forth about what just happened in this Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel does a fastest lap of 38.5. I think the lap record is a 37.7, so he has another 0.8 of a second to go to match the fastest ever lap here. Lewis's tyres are starting to look worse. He is losing time to Kimi, but I think that's just natural because Kimi does have fresher tyres. 24 laps to go. Can he make it to the end? I think he can. I think he will. As I'm just looking at the gap. So Verstappen, I think, is doing well in 3rd place. Bottas is doing all right as... Oh, Charles Leclerc. Something's wrong with Charles Leclerc's car in 16th place. He's now coming into the pits. He was going very slowly then. That's not full racing speed he was going at. And he comes in, and yeah, he's going to be retiring from this race. So I think this is the 4th retirement of the US Grand Prix. And does he pull into the garage? Yes, he does. So Charles Leclerc is out of the United States Grand Prix. Austin, I want moving cars, not still pictures. I'm afraid we can't use video because, again, for the millionth time, I'd get copyrighted and I would, well, lose the channel, and I'm not going to take that risk. So Max Verstappen will just sing on the screen on super soft tyres. I'm not sure Max will make it to the end. I think Max, he does have a fresh set of ultra softs, so if he wants to, he can pit for that. But he wants to stay out, preferably. Max wants to stay out because if he pits, then he's gonna be how many seconds? He may be able to pass Vettel at the end of the race, but he won't finish on the podium. What are the positions? That's a master feat. That's on lap 34 out of 56. Lewis Hamilton leads from Kimi Raikkonen second. It's Verstappen third, Bottas fourth, Vettel fifth. And then Hulkenberg sixth, Sainz in seventh. Ocon eighth, Magnussen ninth, Perez 10th. So Magnussen has jumped Perez there. And then you have Van Dorn 11th, then Gasly, Hartley, Ericsson, Sorokin, Stroll. Rounding out the people outside of the points, and your retirements are Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso and Romain Grosjean. That is the field with 22 laps to go. Lap 34 out of 56. Kimi just took... Yeah, he did. He took a lot of time out of Lewis then. Only 13.5 seconds. Where did that happen? Does Lewis have the tyre life to hold on? It looks as though at the minute he doesn't. Wow, this could get interesting towards the end of the race as Lewis laps the Toro Rosso Brendan Hartley, I think that is. It is. Does Lewis have to pit again? Maybe he was stuck in traffic. Maybe that's why. But Kimi is still gaining time. It doesn't matter what the position is because Hamilton will win his 5th world title. As it stands, yes. Remember, Hamilton, all he has to do is outscore Vettel by 8 points. If he outscores Vettel by 8 points, Hamilton is your champion. As Kimi gains another 1.5 seconds on that lap. So Kimi is pushing. He's only 12 seconds behind now with 21 laps to go. So if he continues like this, then maybe the strategist will be... maybe his mistake will be redeemed. Right, I'm going to try and find a new picture. Guys, who do you think is going to win then? Do you think Lewis Hamilton will hold on for victory? Or do you think that Kimi can catch Lewis? Do you think that's possible? Put in the chat right now and I will read it out in the next few minutes. I'll just look for a picture now. As Kimi's still catching Lewis at quite a rate of knots. And Lewis, yes, he does have blisters on his rear tyres and slightly on his front tyres, I think, as well. Lewis is struggling on his tyres. That's great news for Ferrari. So, here's, I'll just show you guys when Charles Leclerc retired from the Grand Prix, pulling into the garage, as Vettel is, I think, going along nicely in terms of pace, but of course he's not in the position he needs to be in to win this, or to not win the championship, but to continue the championship to Mexico. Right, here you go. Charles Leclerc parking it for the day. Some kind of issue, I don't know what it was, but I have to say a disappointing race for Sauber, pretty much caused by Romain Grosjean. As Kimi is now 10.3 seconds behind, another 1.5 seconds. Kimi has given it his all and he's really catching Lewis. If he continues to catch Lewis like this for the next well, for the rest of the race, then Kimi should win this race. We could have a great end here. Some people willing Kimi on to go win this race in the chat. He's still catching him massively. What do Mercedes do? What do Mercedes do? What is the gap to Vettel? 29.2. Just as I said that. They're going to have to keep Lewis out. They're going to have to. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is that they win the championship. If Lewis finishes second and Vettel finishes fifth, then Lewis wins the title. So, yeah, but Vettel just gained loads of time on Lewis then. Hamilton really is struggling. It's now just under 9 seconds over the line. Some Red Bull mechanics have travelled out to Daniel Ricciardo's car to try and see what the issue is. There is that beautiful looking Red Bull car. The gap now down to 8.7. Another second and a half took out. Kimi is consistently hunting down Lewis. Lewis has had to lap Pierre Gasly. Oh, look at that rear tyre. That's not going to last. That left rear tyre, look at it. His tyres are gone. His rear tyres are absolutely shot. He's risking a puncture now. They've got to think of his championship here. Those rear tyres look very badly grained. But they've got to keep him out. If they're going to win the title, they have to keep him out. As also Max Verstappen on Super Softs is catching Kimi Raikkonen. Max is only 3 seconds behind Raikkonen and 11 behind Hamilton. Yeah, his rear tyres are absolutely gone. You can see it. I'll try and post a picture of it. I've just found, and yeah, Lewis Hamilton pits from the lead. His tyres were not going to last. He lost 4 seconds in the last lap to Sebastian Vettel. His tyres went off the cliff as he now puts on a set of, what is that? That's not soft tyres, is it? Oh no, it is. There's another set of soft tyres. So Hamilton will now drop down to 4th. This championship, you know, it might go down to Mexico. Hamilton will be let through by Bottas to 3rd. They can see. Look at that right rear. It was a lot worse a minute ago. This was a few laps before, but yeah, those tyres were gone. Absolutely gone. So, I think I've been a bit shown up here, haven't I? I think we have. Have Ferrari actually got it right? But this is the thing. Will Kimi's tyres go off? We'll have to see. There's still another 18 laps to go. Long way to go yet. Kimi does lead, but Max, by the way, is catching. If Max won this race from 18th on the grid, that would be one of the best drives in the last decade for sure. Unreal Ferrari strategy. That's from Spectra. This is the thing though. Max is catching Kimi, so I'm not sure you guys don't celebrate too much yet because Max is catching Kimi. He's only 2.5 seconds behind. Lewis is now 4th. Bottas will let him through, but if Lewis finishes 3rd and Vettel finishes 5th, then the title goes to Mexico. So right now, Lewis doesn't win the championship. As Bottas is lapping, I believe, is it Lance Stroll, Sergei Sorokin? Someone like that. Max said his tyres are fantastic. Well, in terms of lap time, it looks as though they are. It's only 2.5 seconds from winning this race. RD Kimi's tyres may not last. That's true. But what can Lewis do now? He is just trying to work it out. He is about 12 to 13 seconds off the lead. Chazzer, I told you, Ferrari strategist is amazing. Yeah, he's about 12 to 13 seconds off the lead, and that's coming down, by the way, with 17 laps left. So Lewis needs to catch Raikkonen like Raikkonen was catching Hamilton for Lewis to win this Grand Prix. And of course needs to pass Bottas, which he will because Bottas will let him through, and pass Verstappen and get past Kimi. So Lewis needs to give it hammer time for the next 17 laps. Kimi maintaining the gap at 2.7 seconds. Right, so I'll read out the race order here on what is going to be very soon lap 40. So the positions are: Kimi Raikkonen leads from Max Verstappen second, Bottas is third, Hamilton is fourth, Vettel fifth, Hulkenberg sixth, Sainz is seventh, and then Ocon eighth, Magnussen ninth, and Perez in 10th. And then the drivers who are finishing the race so far but not scoring points are Stoffel Van Dorn, Brendan Hartley, Marcus Ericsson, Sergei Sorokin, Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll, with your retirements being Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso and Romain Grosjean. Wow, how has this gone wrong for Mercedes? This was not expected, as Lewis does the fastest lap of the race, and I believe just did a new lap record. How many seconds is he behind now? 9. He's closing the gap, Lewis. Lewis is probably a second and a half closer to Kimi than he was about 2 minutes ago. As Lewis is closing on Valtteri. Valtteri needs to let Lewis through in a minute. Yep, Lewis took a second out of Kimi on the last lap. It's not over yet, guys. I understand you guys want to start partying, but there is 16 laps left. And Lewis, if he takes a second a lap out of Kimi, he does have a chance to win. Lewis has to push. Yes, he does. This would be a great way to win the championship if he does. So he gets past Bottas, who has let him through. He now needs to give it hammer time. As it stands, Lewis will not win the championship in third place. We're going to get a great end. We are going to get a great end to this race. I cannot wait for the last, well, I'd say by lap 48 until 56, we're going to get a very, very exciting end. Lewis has to give it everything. And he does. A new lap record of 1:37.3. Hammer time is underway. And he is now... God, he is way close. How many... He's 8.7 behind now. Lewis is very, very quick. And by the way, Max is catching Kimi too. Lewis, at this rate, not only will he get past Kimi, he'll end up miles ahead. What a lap. 37.3. John, you better get a drink, brother. Cheers for that. As there's some traffic ahead, Max has to lap. Who is that? Is that Marcus Ericsson? Yes. Oh no, that was Brendan Hartley, who Max just lapped. But yeah, Hamilton is closing in. It is. It's hammer time. 15 laps of hammer time. Is this where Kimi lost the time? And I guess he's complaining about traffic. And does he wave his hand on the way past? No, he focuses on the job, but I'm sure he complains. So, Lewis is about just under 8 seconds behind and pushing very hard. What will Lewis do on this lap? Does he do a new lap record or not? No, he doesn't. I think he went slower on that lap. But he is catching Kimi Raikkonen. Right, guys, I'll try and post a picture. We are gonna have a thrilling final 10 laps. So, right, I'll post a picture for you guys now when Lewis pitted. Max is only 2 seconds off the lead, by the way, so Max isn't out of it and is doing well on his super soft tyres. I think the super softs are actually hanging on better than the soft tyres, which doesn't really make any sense. But here you go. This is when Lewis pitted for the second time. Can he come through and take the World Championship? By the way, if Vettel does not pass Bottas and Vettel finishes 5th, but Hamilton only finishes 2nd, then Lewis will still win the championship. So Lewis only needs second, if Vettel finishes 5th. Vettel, though, just took a 2.5 seconds out of Bottas. So we're getting to a very, very thrilling final few laps. Lewis is 6.5 seconds off the lead with 13 laps to go. Lewis is driving like his life depends on it, even going off the track there quite clearly. Vettel is catching Bottas massively. He's only 3.5 seconds behind Bottas. And he goes off the track. So the top 5 are basically now just saying, you know what? F it. Let's give it everything we have for the last 13 laps. That's exactly what F1 should be. Pushing every single second. Kimi only 2 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Lewis is 6.5 off of the lead and 4.5, or now 4 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Hamilton is smart. He will not push for the pass. That's from John. When it comes to Max, I disagree. I think if he's close enough in the DRS zone on the back straight, he will definitely go for the overtake. He has to. But once he gets past Max, as long as Vettel doesn't pass Bottas, then Lewis can, if he wants to, settle for second. The gap is coming down all the while. Hashtag Lewis tryhard mode. That's a good one. As Vettel is now only 3 seconds behind. Now 2.5 seconds behind Bottas. Bottas is struggling. This is very similar to last year for Bottas in terms of him dropping off the pace at the end of the Grand Prix. He dropped off so much at the end of at the end of last season's US Grand Prix. He's doing it again. How's Hartley versus Sainz going? Hartley pitted eventually because the reason they were battling is because Brendan had not pitted yet. Carlos Sainz is in 7th. And I'll just look for Brendan Hartley once they show where he is. They're showing the championship table at the minute, so I can't actually tell you. Brendan Hartley is 11th. Not doing bad. I'm not sure if he's far off the points or not because they're not showing the gap to Perez, which is annoying. So, where's Vettel? Vettel is only 2.5 behind Bottas. Verstappen is still 2 seconds behind Kimi. And Lewis Hamilton is now 5.5 behind Raikkonen with 12 laps to go. If Lewis can take half a second a lap out of Kimi and get past Verstappen quite quickly, then Lewis might win. But he does no, that's Bottas who has traffic. This is going to hurt Bottas a lot on his older and horrible tyres, it seems as though. By the way, thanks to the 462 people watching live. Thank you so much for coming along. And again, we do this every race weekend. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to sub either bottom right of the screen or click on my channel name and go to the channel page and sub to the channel for more content like this. So, here we go. Verstappen dropping off slightly. Hamilton is now catching up to the back of Verstappen. It's about, I'm trying to look what the gap is. 4.8, I think it is, or 4.7 from Hamilton to Raikkonen. And then Verstappen's only 2.2 behind Raikkonen. Very close at the top. As Vettel is closing in on Bottas. So much Oh, he's closing in so much. That's what I'm trying to say. Jean-Paul, why don't you just stream? Because, yeah, we can't show footage because copyright. Vettel, how far behind is he behind Bottas, I wonder? He looks as though he's like a second and a half behind. Hamilton just took 3/4 of a second out of Max Verstappen. As I'm just looking, Vettel is... I think Vettel will probably shape up for a move probably in about 3 laps time. I'd say that's when it's likely for there to be a move. Hamilton is 2.6 seconds away from a 5th World Championship. If Vettel doesn't pass Bottas, Hamilton has to pass Verstappen to win the title here at COTA. Swag Nation, Bottas has blisters. He absolutely does. His tyres have gone way past probably where they should have gone. Right, hold on. I'll just post this picture of Valtteri Bottas moving aside for the 2nd time today for Lewis Hamilton. I'll just get this posted up for you guys as Vettel is now within a second of Bottas. So he's right there as there you go. Hamilton being let through for the 2nd time today and for the 3rd time in 3 races. So, who do you guys think is going to win then out of Raikkonen, Verstappen and Hamilton? 4.5 seconds covers the top 3. As Vettel now is just over a second behind Valtteri Bottas. I think Vettel, yeah, it's going to take him probably another 2 laps to actually go for a move here on Valtteri. As Max is flirting with the idea of trying to go for the win. He's only 1.7 behind Kimi. Could it happen? Lewis is still pushing. He's only 2 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Lewis can actually see Kimi on the pit straight as there is now 10 laps to go at the US Grand Prix. There is now 4 seconds covering the top 3. And it's coming down, by the way. It's getting closer. Yeah, by the way, Charles Leclerc is out of the Grand Prix. In case someone was asking then. Vettel is still just over a second behind Bottas as Hamilton is getting closer all the while in the first sector to Verstappen. Only 1.5 seconds back, and Verstappen is, I'd say, about 1.5 seconds behind Kimi. Do you think Hamilton will win the championship here? Oh, that's so difficult. It's a 50-50 right now. You know what? I'd say yes. I think he'll pass Max, but Kimi will win, and Hamilton will win the championship because I think Vettel will stay in 5th. There you go. A tapping foot there at Ferrari from a Ferrari mechanic. Hamilton closing on Max, but Max closing on Kimi. This is such an intense end to this Grand Prix. Kimi's tyres will be blistering by the time he catches Lewis. Kimi Raikkonen, this is the thing for Kimi. He now has traffic. He has to lap Lance Stroll again. So, that's going to affect his tyres. And if Lance doesn't get out of the way pretty soon, that's going to allow Max and Lewis to close up. So, here we go. Max is 1.5 seconds behind Kimi. Lewis is just over a second behind, or is now a second behind Max. And Max has took out a bit of time there in the first sector because Kimi had to lap a car, I think. Oh no, he didn't. He didn't get past. He's still having to wait. Now he laps him. So Kimi's lost there 0.5 seconds in the first sector with 8 laps to go. And now Max will get DRS, I'm assuming. Will he get DRS? No, he doesn't, and Kimi does. And, oh, come on, Stroll, we've got to move out of the way here. And for Lewis. Yeah, so that was a bit smart, I think, there by Kimi. He knew that he would get DRS. So that's bought him a bit more time. But the gap is only 1.2 between Kimi and Max. You can guarantee if Max gets a sniff of a race win, he's going for it. 1.2 between Raikkonen and Verstappen, but 1.3 between Verstappen and Hamilton. 2.5 seconds covers the top 3. As Vettel, by the way, is 1.5 seconds behind Bottas. Sorry if I'm not reading out the race order, but we're concentrating on this battle. I will read out the race order once the race ends. This is so intense. Someone's saying this is tense as hell. It really is. It really is. My heart is beating out of my chest. I'm that pumped up for these last 7 laps. And if you're not, then, well, you're not a real fan. You have to be pumped up for this. This is really getting close. Now, just 2 seconds covering the top 3. This is so intense. Right, I will try and change the photo if I can. Let's see if I can. I can't at the minute. I can't find one. I will try and change the photo as soon as I can, guys. So here we go. By the way, to the 510 people watching live, who do you think will win the race out of Kimi Raikkonen, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton? Just 2 seconds covers the top 3. Raikkonen is now in the lead. 1.3 ahead of Max Verstappen. Hamilton is a second behind. Just over a second now. Behind Max Verstappen. Don't worry, guys. I'll change the photo as soon as I can. As soon as I find a photo, I will change it. So, quickly before the race ends, Raikkonen leads from Verstappen second, Hamilton third, Bottas fourth, Vettel is fifth, Hulkenberg sixth, Sainz is seventh, Ocon eighth, Magnussen is ninth, and then 10th is Sergio Perez, 11th is Hartley, 12th is Ericsson, 13th is Stoffel van Dorn. It's a good race for him. Sorokin 14th, Gasly 15th, and then Stroll is 16th. And your retirements are Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Romain Grosjean and Fernando Alonso, and we have 6 laps left. 6 laps to go. Who is going to make a move here? Will Lewis go for a move on Max? Will Max go for a move on Kimi? What's going to happen? Right, I'll just have a quick look for a picture. Hopefully there is one. There should be. Kimi getting closed down by Max here. Right, I'll just show you a visual of the 3 cars on the pit straight. All in a line basically, but it's a rear facing shot, not a front facing shot. So I'll just I'll post it up now. There you go. That is the top 3. So Kimi in the far distance, just ahead of Max, and then Lewis in third. As it stands, Lewis will not win the championship. He needs to outscore Vettel by 8 points. But he's only outscoring him by 5 right now. 3 more points are needed, and that will come through finishing second. So if Hamilton passes Max, then Lewis wins the championship. So here, so Kimi Raikkonen, so Lewis there got very close to Max. I think made a mistake in turn 1. Lewis is now within a second of Max. Yes, he is within the first sector. Max is second behind Kimi. So I think Lewis, if he stays close enough, will get DRS, and that's what he needs. Ah, he's dropped behind him in a mistake there in turn 9, I think. Swag Nation. The plot twist, top 3 crash, and Bottas wins. That would be amazing. Driver of the day, Kimi or Max. We'll get onto that in my race reaction. By the way, guys, we will be doing a race reaction at 9:30 PM UK time, so just under an hour's time. Don't forget to join me for that, to react to this race and this tense end. 2 seconds covers the top 3. As they're going through turn 15 now. This is the thing for Kimi. If he's going to win, he needs to make sure he doesn't make a mistake. One mistake and Kimi loses it. So hopefully Kimi does not make a mistake. I want him to win. But I think here Max, is he close enough in DRS? Let me just look. Yes, I think Max has DRS now. I think Max has the DRS. I think he had DRS on that lap, but it seems as though Max lost a bit of time into turn number 1. 26 kilometers to go in this race. Vettel is closing up to the back of Bottas again. Just looking, Vettel just backing off. Yeah, and now he's giving it more again. Actually, no, he's dropped off a bit. He's now almost 2 seconds behind Bottas. God, who is going to make a move here? I really want to see someone get within DRS and, you know, get up to the back of one of who. I want to see Verstappen get up to the back of Kimi here, but I don't think it's going to happen. Verstappen, though, does have DRS. Is he closing? You know, he's closed about 0.2 of a second. Right, so I'd say Max needs to be... He has to be right on Kimi's gearbox if he's going to make a move. Yeah, if you're a Kimi Raikkonen fan, like Hallam899 says, this is very painful. Kimi needs to reach down and take the sensor off the second battery. He does. Come on, someone give it a go. Lewis, I think here is close enough in DRS. He is. Can Lewis go for the move? Well, maybe not go for the move, but can he open DRS? He does, but so does Max. But Lewis is closer to Max than Max is to Kimi. If Lewis stays within DRS, once we get to the back straight, Lewis can go for the move. It's lap 53 out of 56. Kimi is leading from Verstappen second, Hamilton third, Bottas fourth, and Vettel in fifth. I'll read out the rest of the race order once the race ends in about 3 laps' time. Is Hamilton here close enough in DRS? Yes, he is. Right, if Hamilton does not mess up this braking zone, Hamilton will be within DRS of Max, and that will close Lewis up to the back of him, surely. He makes a slight mistake there in turn 11. But now gets the DRS, so Lewis will now start to close on Max. As Vettel is now within a second of Bottas. So yeah, you see there, Lewis is now right behind because the Mercedes is so much faster in a straight line. So now, Lewis just getting that DRS. That DRS has now closed him right up to the back of Max Verstappen. Right, he's got to deal with someone in the chat a minute, guys, who's being an idiot. There you go. Just had to deal with him. Right, so Lewis within a second of Max. Lap 54 out of 56. Kimi leads by 1.1 seconds. Max is second, just under a second ahead of Lewis Hamilton. What a tense end to this race, as Vettel, by the way, is within a second of Valtteri Bottas. So much drama. Yeah, it is. Great commentary, dude. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Hopefully this has been entertaining for you guys, for the almost 600 people watching live. Thank you guys so much. Is Lewis going to win the title with 3 laps left? That's 3, that's 1, including, we've got 2 more, and then including this one as well. If you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, I'm sure, if you're a Kimi Raikkonen fan, I'm sure your heart is beating out of your chest. As Lewis is closer down the back straight. Oh, he's close enough. No, I thought he was close enough then. As Max goes wide, can Lewis go for the move? This could win the championship. He cuts underneath. Can Lewis get past Max? Round the outside. Oh, he's going to do a switch back here. And he does. Does he get past? Round the outside. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. He loses the grip on the outside. Oh, I feel sorry for Lewis there. That would have been a great overtake. Whoa, that was so intense. That was so intense. Lewis now, I think, has lost his chance to go for second. Because now he's 1.8 seconds behind with 2 laps to go. What a battle between Hamilton and Max. Max goes wide into turn 12. Lewis then does the switch back in turn 13. And then through turn 14. And then comes up to turn 15. Does the switch back again. And then goes or tries to put it around the outside, but lost grip. We'll have to see it again on the replay. But right, guys, I'll try and post a final picture before the race ends. I think Kimi, guys, is about to get his first win since 2013. I know for several of you guys, your dream has come true almost for Kimi Raikkonen. Vettel now within a second of Bottas. By the way, Hamilton's dropped off the back. So Hamilton is not going to win the championship. Here's Vettel. Look how Vettel is so close to Bottas here. Vettel is going to go for a move for Bottas for P4. Down the back straight. Vettel with DRS. Bottas is going to defend. He does. Vettel around the outside. Oh, Bottas down the inside, but Vettel comes back and switches back and hits some debris on the outside of the track. Vettel is up to 4th. So, as we're coming on to the final lap in a moment, Lewis Hamilton will be made to wait for his 5th World Championship. Lewis, though, is starting to come back at Max Verstappen. We're on the final lap here. Kimi Raikkonen is 1 lap away from his first win in 5.5 years. For all you Kimi Raikkonen fans, get ready. This is going to be a pretty emotional moment for you guys. I will try, as Kimi is now coming through the end of the first sector. I'll just show you a picture of when Lewis went off the track when trying to pass Max around the outside at turn 16. As someone ahead looks up. And Kimi is now on the back straight. He's half a lap away from probably his last race win in his Formula 1 career. What a career it's been. I know he's going to Sauber, but when it comes to winning races, which he should be doing, this is his swan song. And here he comes into the final sector for Kimi Raikkonen. Lewis, by the way, within a second of Max. Kimi is slowing up a bit because he wants to make sure he gets to the flag. And here comes Kimi Raikkonen round the very long right-hander into the penultimate corner and into the last corner. Kimi Raikkonen, for the first time since Australia in 2013, wins! And Max Verstappen finishes second. Lewis Hamilton is third. Lewis will be made to wait for his championship, as Sebastian Vettel will finish in 4th. Valtteri Bottas will finish 5th. Hulkenberg finishes 6th. Sainz is 7th. Ocon 8th. Magnussen 9th. 10th is Sergio Perez. 11th is Hartley. 12th is Ericsson. 13th is Stoffel Van Dorn. 14th is Pierre Gasly. 15th is Sergei Sorokin. 16th is Lance Stroll. And your retirees are Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Romain Grosjean and Fernando Alonso. But Kimi Raikkonen has returned to the top step. Thankfully, Kimi has won again. We all wanted to see one last win for Kimi. That's what we wanted to see. By the way, thanks to Sizzle. Thank you very much for that. We all wanted to see a final win for the Kimster. And it's happened. 5.5 years. That is a long time to be waiting for a race win. Especially for this guy who has been in cars that, you know, have been able to win races for quite a few years. And finally, he gets the win. Redemption for Italy, absolutely. Fully deserved for Kimi Raikkonen. And I have to say, you know what? Maybe I was wrong about the Ferrari strategist. Maybe you could argue that his strategy decision made sense. Maybe you could argue that, but I still don't think it was the smartest decision. But anyway, let's forget about that. And look at Kimi Raikkonen and Max Verstappen. I have to say, Max is the driver of the day. I'm not going to reveal it in the race reaction. I think it's pretty obvious for me. Max Verstappen is the driver of the day from 18th to 2nd, and he was 1 second away from winning the race from the back of the grid. So for me, Max Verstappen is the driver of the day, but of course does not win. That goes to Kimi Raikkonen. As now Kimi comes into the final 2 corners. It's so great to see Kimi win again. His first win, by the way, for Ferrari since the 2009 Belgian Grand Prix. That was 9 years ago. 9 years ago was the last time he won for the Scuderia. But for the first time in his career, he wins in America. And now parks it in Parc Ferme. I'm not sure Kimi is a very emotional guy, but I think he might be a bit emotional about getting this win. And with the way he drove at Monza, for example, I think he deserved a win at that race. And I think does deserve to get a race win in 2018. He has been better in 2018 than he has been pretty much since 2013. When was the last time he got... his... race win, as Kimi stands top of his car and thanks the fans and looks happy. Thanks from Amsterdam. That's from Michael Lawsberg. No problem. This has been such a great stream to do. Raghav Gupta, so satisfying. It is. Legion, there are tears in my eyes, fireworks in the background, and by God, I am pleased. As Kimi now comes to Parc Ferme to get interviewed by Martin Brundle. By the way, guys, I will be coming off very soon because I have to get the race reaction ready soon. So if you have any remaining comments, put it in the chat in the next couple of minutes. I will throw up a last image for you guys. You guys have really been the best today. You've really made this watch along a great watch along. So let me just throw up a final picture for you guys. As Kimi Raikkonen, if you're just joining us at the end of the stream, Kimi Raikkonen wins the United States Grand Prix. Thank God that happened. It had to. It had to happen. It seemed so unlikely this weekend that Kimi would win. But there you go. He has. Kimi Raikkonen wins from Max Verstappen 2nd, and Lewis Hamilton finishes 3rd. Vettel finishes 4th, with Valtteri Bottas in 5th. So, Hamilton is made to wait until Mexico for the World Championship crown. Lots of people crying apparently in the chat. I can understand why. Just looking at the chat. Made my evening. Brilliant commentary as well. Thank you very much, Constantine. Thank you very much. Hopefully you have subscribed to the channel. Yep, give me a like. As Ericsson says, don't forget to like this video and comment down below what you thought of the US Grand Prix. Fair play, Ferrari strategist. I can't believe I'm saying that right now. Hamilton, no, is not the champion. Lewis is 3 points away from winning the championship, I believe. I believe if Lewis wins in Mexico, Lewis wins the championship no matter what Vettel does. Thank you so much, Chazza. No problem. Pleasure to do this. It really is, guys. I'm not just saying that because, you know, there's so many people watching, but it is such a pleasure to, you know, share my emotions with you guys who are true F1 fans. So thank you guys for coming along. Blessed you, best race of the season. I wouldn't say it's the best race of the season, but in terms of emotion, yeah, I'd probably say this is the most emotional race win for at least 3 or 4 years, at the very least. You go, Kimi. You've been one of the nicest drivers through all the years and the 25 years I have been watching. Absolutely. You've made my stream, made my day with this stream. I just subbed to you. Thank you very much. That is, I think, Art Hover Rail. I think that is. Sorry if I've mispronounced your name, but thank you very much. Master Fee. There was so much drama in this race. Max in Spain was pretty emotional as well. That's from Andrew Drury. Yep, it was. Aaron Chin. Forza Ferrari. Indeed. Renault beats Haas in the USA. I think now Renault are basically confirmed to finish in 4th now. Renault scored 14 points and Haas scored 2. So I'm afraid for Haas, it's over. I'm afraid. Laura says Verstappen did really good job, or really great job. Yep, he did. Thank you, Pirelli. That's from Niblo. Yeah, I think their tyres were just about right to give us an exciting end. But I still would prefer him to wear more. Mike Brown, Vettel, very disappointing this year. Yeah, he has been, but... well, his late pass on Valtteri Bottas has forced the championship to go to the Mexican Grand Prix. And guys, if Lewis doesn't finish in Mexico and Vettel wins, then the title then goes to Brazil. Or if, you know, Vettel beats Hamilton in Mexico. I should have said that, really. If Vettel beats Hamilton in Mexico, it goes to Brazil, I believe. Or no, I think... I'm just trying to think what it... I think if Lewis... so Lewis now is 70 points clear. So Vettel needs to outscore Hamilton by over 20 points to take the title decider to Brazil. Right, I'll stay on for another 4 minutes, guys, and then I'll come off. Again, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. We do this every race weekend, so it'd be a pleasure for you to join our community. And just to say as well, thank you for the viewership tonight. We've had over 700 people watching live. That is amazing. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to Master Fee for subscribing. Yeah, thank you guys so much for viewing. Such a pleasure again to do this. And yeah, thank you guys for coming along and enjoying the race. Kimi's win reminds me of Lacey in Canada. It is very similar. I do see your point. Thank you, Chazza. That's from Datkin Kyle. No problem. Pleasure to do this. I'm so happy to see Kimi winning again. That's from Prussia. Day Day Jr. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you to Legion. And no problem. But yeah, I'll come off in a couple minutes. So if you have any remaining questions or comments, then go ahead and put it in the chat. I can't quite read your name, but thank you very much for saying that. It says, thank you from Finland. Nice show. Thank you very much. Hopefully you have subbed as well, if you are new. Kimi, Ferrari's last champion. Yep, in 2007. So the podium celebrations, guys, are about to begin. Vettel needs to hire a sports psychologist. You say physiologist there, but I think you mean psychologist. How's the point standings? Lewis Hamilton leads by 70 points now from Sebastian Vettel. So the championship goes to Mexico, where it's going to end most likely in Mexico, just like in 2017. But you know what, guys? I think I am now going to end this stream. And again, I just have to say thank you guys so much for watching this live. The viewership has been crazy. If you have subbed, thank you so much for subbing. And I'm hopefully going to give you more content like this next week in Mexico City. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, on the bottom right of the screen, or click on my channel name to subscribe for more content like this. As well, like this video and comment down below what you thought of this video. And what did you think of Kimi Raikkonen winning the race? And what did you think of the US Grand Prix as well? Don't forget to join our Discord server. There's a link below in the description. We have about 75 people in that server. It would be great for you to join our community further. And as well, guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter to keep up to date with the channel. And also to check out my website, chazahd.com. Again, to keep up with me, ChazahD F1. But guys, until my race reaction, which will be going up basically as soon as I'm ready, hopefully in about 30 to 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, come back for that, and I'll see you all then.